Chapter 251, Ha! The little phoenix screamed up to the sky, and the turbulent phoenix divine fire swept through his body. Her wings suddenly shook, and the huge phoenix divine fire immediately attacked the dozens of Imperial-level powerhouses in the Five Forces Alliance. Why is this flame so strong? Why can't it be put out? Do not. As the phoenix divine fire swept like a sea wave, dozens of Imperial and Junior powerhouses were directly burned and screamed. Even those powerhouses in the middle or even later stages of the Imperial rank can't take care of themselves. These two strange beasts are here to help us. Ha ha ha. God really helped me, Dragon Temple. Everyone, let me kill the enemy. Several elders of the Dragon Temple laughed when they saw this, and took the opportunity to launch the most violent attack towards the Five Major Forces Alliance. The situation instantly changed from disadvantage to advantage. Looking at Long Chen and the others, a strong man at the top of the Imperial rank entangled Long Ling, and the remaining three, led by Chen Qinian, launched the most violent attack towards Long Chen. Long Chen, instead of choosing to retreat, instead rushed towards the three of Chen Qinian. What is he going to do? He actually took the initiative to kill the three of Chen Qinian. Does he really think that killing Palace Master Taixu by a sneak attack is qualified to fight 1 against 3? Not to mention that there is also Dao Master Qinian, who is among the top 5 human powers. I can't help myself. Other forces watching the battle in the surrounding area sighed. The appearance of Long Chen really shocked them, especially seeing him with his own eyes to kill Palace Master Taixu. This means that his strength can definitely squeeze into the top 5 of the human power rankings. But this does not mean that he can ignore Dao Master Qinian. After all, this is a super strong who has been famous for hundreds of years, second only to the undefeated Dragon God ranked first and Emperor Xin Yao II. Even if it is as strong as Thunder Emperor, it is not necessarily his opponent. Long Chen intends to fight 1 against 3, which is also the rhythm of death. However, soon the mockery on their faces solidified. I saw Long Chen's figure split into 2 instantly, turning into 2 Long Chen. One of them rushed towards the 2 Quasi-Super Power Masters, and the other slew towards Qinian Dao Master. Be careful, everyone, this kid's clone technique is a bit special. The clone has the same combat power as the main body. Chen Qinian shouted. It seems that he knows a lot about Long Chen. The 2 Quasi-Super Power Masters immediately became cautious when they heard this, and fought a guerrilla war with the mirror image Long Chen. Long Chen's body is facing Qinian Dao Master. Unexpectedly, you could only be protected from me a few months ago, but now you can face me head on. I'm really curious about how your strength has improved so fast. Chen Qinian stared at Long Chen, and his eyes suddenly became bright. When he was in Qinian Doguan, Long Chen was only a king, and he had to rely on Long Ling's protection to face him. But now, in just a few months, he was already strong enough to fight him. Chen Qinian would never believe that Long Chen had no adventures. If he only wanted to kill some of Long Chen's hatred before, then now he is interested in why Long Chen's strength has improved so quickly. Want to know? Beat me, I will tell you. Long Chen said calmly, his index finger hooked towards Chen Qinian, full of provocation. A cold light flashed in Chen Qinian's eyes. For many years, he has forgotten how many years he has not been provoked like this. Chapter 252. Zan Qinian Taoist Master dead. Chen Qinian yelled violently, and his 2 hands quickly painted dozens of talismans containing the power of law in the void. Lurching towards Long Chen, dozens of law talismans surged out, and the horrible energy shook the void to pieces. But Long Chen didn't change his face. All right, let me see how strong you are. Ranking 3rd in the ranking of human powerhouses. A strong sense of war broke out in Yi Qianxing's eyes. Ever since I traveled to this world, I have heard the reputation of such peerless powerhouses as the undefeated Dragon God, Emperor Xin Yao, Dao Master Qinian. Now that he can face one of them head on, Long Chen is still a little excited. Give me, break. Long Chen yelled violently, without urging the power of the law, but directly using his body to resist Chen Qinian's law talisman. With a punch, it directly smashed a law talisman and turned it into starlight and dissipated in the world. Long Chen's current physical fitness has far surpassed the peak of the emperor rank and reached the realm of a demigod. It is the limit that the human body can reach. One force breaks 10,000 laws. His power is already strong enough to break the power of laws forcibly. What a strong physical strength. Chen Qinian's eyes flashed with surprise. Forcibly defeating his law talisman with his body. No one has ever done it except the undefeated Dragon God. Long Chen is the second one. Ha ha ha, Chen Qinian, do you only have this means? You don't even have the qualifications to tickle me. Long Chen laughed and said, such arrogant words completely angered Chen Qinian. Well, since you are looking for death, then I will fulfill you. Tong, God, N. Chen Qinian roared, and both hands were constantly scratching. A series of very complicated inscriptions are engraved in the void, forming a huge talisman. The time to portray this Tongchen urn was longer than before, and the power naturally increased. Long Chen did not take the opportunity to attack Chen Qinian because it was unnecessary. It just so happened that he also wanted to see how strong the enhanced version of Tongchen urn was. Anyway, the previous Tongchen urn didn't have much influence on him. Town. Chen Qinian pushed with both hands, and the enhanced version of Tongchen urn instantly shot towards Long Chen. Sure enough, this breath is more than twice as strong as before. Long Chen thought in his heart, but he didn't show a trace of nervousness or worry. Life and death seal. When the enhanced version of Tongchen urn shot at Long Chen, he also moved the law of death with one hand and the law of life with one hand. Combined with the two, a huge picture of Tai Kai Yin and Yang appeared. He rushed towards the enhanced version of Tongchen urn that came galloping. Bang! Exclamation mark. The two collided, causing a huge explosion. The position centered on the two was directly exposed to a spatial crack. The power is so terrifying that even space can be defeated. Well, Chen Qinian snorted and couldn't help taking a half step backward under UI. But Long Chen still stood straight on the spot, unaffected by the slightest. If you have any tricks, use it quickly, or you won't have a chance. Long Chen said coldly. Chen Qinian's complexion suddenly became very complicated. The enhanced version of Tong Telu was already his strongest trump card, and even this trick had no effect on Long Chen, so it could only mean that he was not Long Chen's opponent. Since you have no whole cards, then it's my turn to perform. Seeing Chen Qinian not speaking, Long Chen suddenly sneered. Suddenly, his figure flashed by like a stream of light and disappeared in place. Chapter 253, Emperor Xin Yao dead. Long Chen turned into an afterimage and rushed to Chen Qinian in an instant. The latter didn't even react, and blasted his forehead with a punch. This punch even cracked the space. Chen Qinian had no doubt that if he was hit by this fist, he would instantly burst his head and die. No, I can't die. Chen Qinian roared wildly, waving his hands incessantly. Lines of defensive talisman are depicted in the void. However, under Long Chen's fist, he couldn't hold his breath. Then they turned into stars and dissipated between heaven and earth. Emperor Xin Yao, save me. After Long Chen's fist broke through the heavy defensive talisman, his power remained undiminished, and he continued to blast towards Chen Qinian. Chen Qinian no longer has a whole card, and when he is desperate, he roars towards the void. At the same time, Long Chen's fist was only a few centimeters away from Chen Qinian. At this moment, a meteor slashed not far away, slamming towards Long Chen very quickly. Okay. Long Chen was taken aback for a moment, and the meteor had already cut through the void and came to Long Chen. HMPH, break it. Yi Qianxing snorted coldly, turned his fist, and blasted towards the shooting star. Bang! Exclamation mark. Just hearing a loud and deafening sound, huge energy fluctuations shook the air in this area back. A vacuum zone was formed, even lasting a full half a minute. Chen Qinian smiled and hurriedly wanted to retreat. But how could Long Chen make him wishful? Did I let you go? Long Chen's cold voice sounded. When he volleyed, Chen Qinian's body was immediately imprisoned. An invisible space cage appeared around Chen Qinian, making him unable to break free. This is the blockade law that Long Chen only obtained not long ago. Although the level is not high, it is enough to imprison Chen Qinian, who is in fear. Emperor Xin Yao, save me. At this time, Chen Qinian still looked like a strong man, shouting towards the void. While confining Chen Qinian, Long Chen stared in one direction. The next moment, a figure appeared out of thin air. This is a middle-aged man wearing a golden robe with stars painted on his clothes. Although Long Chen had never seen him, he could still recognize him at a glance. This was the second-ranked Xin Yao sect master, second only to the undefeated dragon god, the great Xin Yao. He could feel a very strong aura from Emperor Xin Yao. This kind of momentum is far surpassing Chen Qinian's imperial peak. The second and third, the difference is so big. I once owed our Master Qinian a favor. Can you let him go for my face? Emperor Xin Yao hovered in midair, pointing towards Chen Qinian, and the law of blockade around the latter was broken instantly. Then Chen Qinian disappeared, and appeared next to Emperor Xin Yao in the next moment. Yi Qianxing looked at Emperor Xin Yao coldly. This guy actually understood the law of space, and his level was not low. Even compared with Long Ling, it was not much different. Let him go? Haha, if I don't come back in time this time, if I don't have the strength of my current body, if you ask him, will you let me and everyone in the Dragon Temple go? Long Chen sneered. Emperor Xin Yao is still that high-ranking person's cold expression. Anyway, no one died in the Dragon Temple. On the contrary, the 5 major alliances suffered heavy casualties. It is better for you to take a step back. And that's it, Emperor Xingyao said. Chapter 254, Face the Emperor Xingyao. It's really nice. Let's take a step back. Okay, everyone in the 5 major power alliances will break their arms. I can assume that this didn't happen, Long Chen said coldly, and Emperor Xinyao's face instantly sank. This is simply impossible, even if it is as strong as the Emperor. Unless you understand the ability similar to the law of life, it is difficult to be reborn with a broken arm, let alone other people. If one arm is broken, the combat effectiveness will be reduced by at least 30%. How could they agree? Are you joking? Emperor Xinyao asked in a deep voice, but Long Chen smiled faintly. Didn't you kidding me first? Emperor Xingyao's face completely changed. In that case, are you sure you are not going to be good in this matter? I remind you that the 5 powers all have their own cards. If you really die, you can keep yourself, but can you keep the entire Dragon Temple? Even if you don't think about yourself, you have to think about them. Emperor Xinyao still tried his best to persuade Long Chen. Emperor Xinyao, don't talk nonsense with this kid. With your strength, it is not easy to deal with him. As long as this kid dies, the rest of the Dragon Temple will not be worried at all. Then, Chen Qinian on the side said anxiously. In fact, he didn't want to just let it go. After all, because of Long Chen, his Qinian Taoist temple became the laughingstock of the world. And this time I have lost so many disciples. If I let it go, it would be a big loss. Emperor Xinyao glared at Chen Qinian, who suddenly closed his mouth. Now he was covered by Emperor Xinyao, but he couldn't make him angry. In fact, Emperor Xinyao didn't want to do it directly. His principle was to do it and try not to force it. But he knew very well that Long Chen's strength had already surpassed the Emperor's peak and reached the same level as him. Even if it was him, there was no certainty that he could kill Long Chen. As for such a strong man, he still has a talent that is close to enchanting. Unless he is sure that he can kill, he does not want to offend him. Because once offended but unable to kill, then waiting for him will be endless revenge. Maybe he is not afraid, but he is not alone. Under him, there is the entire Starlight Gate. Long Chen, I hope you can think about it. Okay. Don't talk nonsense. The 4 quasi-super powers of the Qinian Doguan Alliance are besieging the Dragon Temple. If this is the case, isn't it telling the world that I can bully the Dragon Temple? Long Chen didn't give a chance at all, and said in a very firm tone. Now you have only 2 ways to go. Leave. We don't offend the river, stay, then fight. As soon as the last word of war came out, a terrifying aura burst out from Long Jin's body instantly. The world is changing colors at this moment. Emperor Xinyao's expression instantly became complicated. If he stayed, it would be regarded as offending Long Chen. But if he just retreats, where will his face of Emperor Xinyao go? After this time, others thought he was afraid of Long Chen and the Dragon Temple. Emperor Xinyao suddenly fell into a situation where it was difficult to make a decision. But soon he made a decision. Chen Qinian used to be kind to me. No matter what, I can't easily abandon him, but I don't want to be your enemy. Well, I will release the strongest move later. As long as you can catch it and don't take a step back, then I will not intervene in matters between you and the 5 major forces. If you take a step back, then the matter will end there. How is it? Chapter 255, Xinyao the Greatest. Trick 1 move determines the outcome. After Long Chen pondered for a while, he accepted this suggestion from Emperor Xinyao. Just as Emperor Xinyao was worried, although he was not afraid of Emperor Xinyao, he did not want to fight with him. If it was an ordinary time, even if Emperor Xinyao was unwilling, he had to learn from each other. But at this time, he was not alone. Behind him, there was the entire Dragon Temple. If he was dragged by the Xinyao Great Emperor, then the Dragon Temple would definitely not be able to withstand the siege of the 5 Forces Alliance. By then, even if he can escape, the Dragon Temple will be over. This was a scene he didn't want to see. Okay, then you should be careful. Emperor Xinyao was not a person who likes to drag things around. Since Long Chen has agreed to his suggestion, he will solve it as soon as possible. Standing in the void, Emperor Xinyao suddenly burst out with a dazzling golden light, just like the brightest star in the sky. This is the cultivation technique that Emperor Xinyao obtained from an ancient relic, called Xingyoju. It is by absorbing the power of the stars to improve one's physical fitness, and at the same time the absorbed power of the stars can be stored in the body and used as a killer when necessary. There will be great power. The title of Emperor Xingyao is because of this Xingyoju. Relying on this Xingyoju, Emperor Xingyao stubbornly stepped into the realm of a demigod, becoming the second strongest in this world after the undefeated Dragon God. What a strong breath. Long Jin's heart was shocked. This Xinyao Great Emperor really deserves to be the second strongest in the human camp. This strongest move has already made Long Chen fearful in the initial stage alone. Long Chen had no doubt that if there was an early Emperor Xinyao strong at this time, he would be wiped out and turned into a dregs by the endless starlight shining on him. Long Chen, this is the strongest move in my life. This move has gathered the power of the stars that I have stored for hundreds of years, and it is enough to change the color of the world. This trick, I would like to call it Starfall. The voice of Emperor Xinyao is like a hongsong, spreading between heaven and earth along the golden light. At this time, Emperor Xinyao was already covered by golden light, looking from a distance like a meteor, rushing towards Long Chen. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Below, Chen Qinian kept roaring in his heart. He not only hoped that Long Chen would be pushed back by Emperor Xinyao, but also hoped that Emperor Xinyao would directly kill him with the strongest blow. In this case, not only can he sit back and relax, but the Dragon Temple will also have no chance. Long Chen Yao couldn't help narrowing his eyes as he watched Emperor Xinyao rushing towards him in the form of a meteor. Before he was attacked, he could perceive the power of Emperor Xinyao's move. The Shield of the Sea. Without hesitation, Long Chen took out the Sea God's trident and directly activated the most defensive move among the Sea God's 7 poses. Under the blessing of the law of water, a curtain of water suddenly appeared in front of Long Chen. However, this move of Long Chen's strongest defense did not hold it for even a second. The meteor that Emperor Xinyao turned into hits the water curtain, and the latter suddenly burst into countless streams of water. But the meteor still rammed towards Long Chen indefinitely. Shinwei. Long Chen's face changed slightly, but it was fleeting. He resolutely urged the law of space, and a black hole vortex appeared right in front of the meteor. Boom! The meteor hits the black hole vortex, which releases a powerful suction. The terrifying power of the meteor is constantly absorbed by the black hole vortex, but the meteor is still extremely powerful. Puff! With a burst of sound, the black hole vortex was forcibly broken by the powerful force of the meteor. This is the first time that Long Jin's supernatural power has been forcibly broken by an external force. Chapter 256. One move determines the outcome. It's really scary. If so, then I won't keep my hands. Long Jin's face was serious, and the dragon and phoenix mark in his palm was shining. His body suddenly changed. Red dragon scales appeared all over his body, and a pair of colorful phoenix wings grew behind him. Incarnate the new species of dragon and phoenix. This is very similar to my brother's Longhua, but Chen's transformation seems to be stronger than my brother. Long Ling was paying attention to the battle on Long Jin's side. When she saw Long Chen transforming, her beautiful eyes clearly trembled a little. Her elder brother, the undefeated dragon god, Long Ming, used this method to fight invincible all over the world. Now, this method is repeated on his son again. And this time, what he will do is challenge Emperor Xinyao and guard the Dragon Temple. This is not enough. Then come again, mirroring, fusion technology. Long Chen shouted. The mirror image Long Chen had already prepared, transformed into the state of Dragon Phoenix, and ran towards Long Jin's body. Stop him. Seeing this, the leaders of the 3 Kuei superpowers hurriedly stopped. But how could they stop Long Chen? The mirror image Long Chen has the same combat power as the body, which is the combat power of the demigod realm. Facing 3 Imperial Peaks in a mere trivial area, and it was only a short time after entering the Imperial Peak, there was not much influence at all. I didn't solve them quickly before, just want to play with them. But now they actually dare to stop them. Isn't this a death? Dead. The mirror image Long Chen sword pointed at 3 points, and the 3 divine thunders that condensed the law of death and the law of thunder shot at the same time, penetrating the eyebrows of the 3 Kuei superpower masters who were about to stop. The 3 evolving King-level peaks, the world's top powerhouses, fell instantly. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the power attribute 60 watts is obtained. Ding. Pick up successfully, get speed attribute 50 watts. Ding. Pick up successfully, get experience value 15,000 watts. The 3 evolvers who had just reached the peak of the Imperial rank provided Long Chen with 150 million experience points. It only took less than half a breath of time to kill the 3 Imperial peak powerhouses. The mirror image of Long Chen appeared behind Long Chen with a palm print, and the majestic energy instantly poured into Long Jin's body. He instantly felt that his combat power suddenly increased several times. Phoenix Divine Fire, burn it for me. Long Chen yelled violently, and his wings shook behind his back. Suddenly a large crimson phoenix divine fire gushed out like ocean waves, transformed into a phoenix shape, and slammed into the meteor in front of him. The fire phoenix turned into by the phoenix god made a sound of wind, and collided with the meteor incarnate of Emperor Xinyao. Suddenly, flames and stars splashed all over, covering a few kilometers. Long Ling waved her hand, urged by the law of space, and hurriedly teleported herself and the disciples of the Dragon Temple several kilometers away. But the disciples of the five power alliances were not so lucky. Their leaders are dead, and the only remaining Chen Qinian is still overwhelmed, just thinking about running away. Don't care about them at all. As a result, under the aftermath of the battle between Long Chen and Emperor Xin Yao, they turned into powder. That's not right. Even the powder hasn't been left behind. Only the attributes and experience light groups are left. It was still the kind that only Long Chen could see. Chen Qinian looked at the battlefield ahead, but at this time it was covered by dazzling light. Even he couldn't see clearly. Chapter 257, White Bright Eyes in the Next Life That Guy is dead. Chen Qinian opened his eyes wide and stared at the front, trying to see clearly the situation inside the dazzling light. Although he had the opportunity to escape at this moment, he was still unwilling to give up like this. Once Long Chen died, he still had the opportunity to destroy the Dragon Temple. Although many disciples of the Five Forces Alliance basically died in the aftermath of Long Chen and Xin Yao's attacks, the peak combat power was still there. Dozens of Imperial-level powerhouses and hundreds of King-level powerhouses were enough to destroy the Dragon Temple. Of course, the premise of everything must be that Long Chen was beheaded by Emperor Xin Yao. The dazzling light erupting from the power of the Phoenix Divine Fire and the stars lasted for a full minute before dissipating. Before Chen Qinian could see the situation clearly, the voice of Emperor Xin Yao laughed loudly. But before Chen Qinian was happy, he was frightened by what Emperor Xin Yao said. It's really a hero coming out of a young age. This move is the strongest blow that I have condensed in half my life. It was actually blocked by you. I admire your strength by Emperor Xin Yao. I'm willing to bet and lose. Since you have taken the strongest move of mine, I will not intervene in the matter between Chen Qinian and you. Emperor Xin Yao said. Chen Qinian's expression changed suddenly. He subconsciously wanted to escape, but found that the void all over him was blocked by a strange force. It's like being trapped in a cage, unable to escape at all. Emperor Xin Yao, you said at the beginning that you owe me a favor, and this time my life is at stake. You can't just stand by and watch. Chen Qinian was almost desperate, and could only pin his hope on Emperor Xin Yao. Use morality to restrict him. 300 years ago, at the beginning of the last days, Chen Qinian accidentally rescued a little boy. This little boy was no one else but his biological son who had separated from Emperor Xin Yao. The Emperor Xin Yao expressed his gratitude for this, and even directly stated that if Chen Qinian needs help in the future, he will do his best to help. At that time, Emperor Xin Yao hadn't become famous, so Chen Qinian didn't take this sentence as the same. Unexpectedly, ordinary people in the past have grown to become the second strongest man. Chen Qinian will naturally not waste this great favor. I promised you that I will do my best to help you, but this time I did do my best for you. I released the power of the stars that had condensed for half a lifetime, but I still couldn't shake him back half a step. This shows that God is destined to die today, and I have nothing to do. Emperor Xin Yao shrugged. The strong attaches great importance to promises and favors, and so does he. That's why Chen Qinian would rather waste the power of the stars that he had stored for half a lifetime. Now, at least he has a clear conscience. No, you can still help me, you are so strong, you can definitely kill this kid. Chen Qinian shouted loudly. Emperor Xin Yao just sighed and shook his head, not wanting to say more. His body was hidden into the void and disappeared in the next moment. No, don't go. Chen Qinian almost collapsed. Originally, seeing Emperor Xin Yao appear, he thought he would not die. But the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. He really regretted why he was so dissatisfied and why he didn't run away earlier. Unfortunately, there is no regret medicine in the world. Chen Qinian, blame yourself for the blame. I had no intention of being an enemy of you, but unfortunately, you have to die by yourself. First Chen Tanming, then Chen Jingshan, and finally you Chen Qinian. After you go down, tell them, in the next life, wipe their eyes bright. Long Chen walked in front of Chen Qinian, and said without any emotion in his eyes. Chapter 258, Chen Qinian's Fall. Don't kill me. Feeling Long Jin's tone and the killing intent in his eyes, Chen Qinian was finally scared. He gave up the so-called strong dignity and begged Long Chen for forgiveness. As long as you spare my life, I can give you anything. Chen Qingshan shouted. Long Chen was unmoved. Kill you, all your things are still mine. Long Chen said coldly. Chen Qinian must die. No one can keep it. If Long Chen didn't arrive in time, would he let go of the people in the Dragon Temple? Obviously, no, so Long Chen would never let him go, and the Qinian Doguan behind him die. Long Chen stopped talking nonsense. A pair of phoenix wings spewed a flaming phoenix divine fire behind him, swallowing Chen Qinian. Chen Qinian was trapped by Long Jin's blockade laws and couldn't hide it at all. Phoenix Divine Fear only swallowed him. Chen Qinian instantly turned into a burning man, rolling in pain in midair. After holding on for half a minute, Chen Qinian stopped struggling. His body suddenly began to swell, and then burst open. A piece of talisman turned into a streamer and flew towards the distance. Chenna, don't let him run away. That is his substitute talisman. Long Ling knew Chen Qinian's methods very well and hurriedly shouted to Long Chen. Long Chen also noticed the talisman. He didn't know what was going on at the beginning. He only reacted when Long Ling said this. Running away? It's really whimsical. Long Chen snorted coldly, pointed his sword a little, and suddenly shot out of extinguishment. The speed is extremely fast, through the void, and instantly penetrate that talisman. An ethereal scream sounded, Fulu turned into starlight and dissipated, and Chen Qinian was completely lost. Ding, the pickup is successful, and the power attribute 50 watts is obtained. Ding, pickup successfully, get speed attribute 48 watts. Ding, pickup successfully, get experience value 20,000 watts. Ding, successfully picked up, and obtained talisman LV1. At the same time as the peak of the imperial rank, but as a veteran powerhouse, Chen Qinian ranked third, and the attributes and experience he exploded were completely comparable to those of the three Quasi-Super Power Masters. There was also a talismanic technique, which should be Chen Qinian's fame stunt. A large amount of information poured into my mind, all of which were the basic knowledge of Fu Luxiu. If you raise it to full level, you should be able to portray the strongest Tongxian Urn. However, Long Chen has no such plan for the time being. Even the strongest Tongxian Urn in it is of little use to him now. Instead of wasting experience points on this, it is better to leave the power of those laws to him. Ancestor. Seeing that their ancestors had fallen, the remaining imperial powerhouses in Qinian Dogwan suddenly appeared desperate. Qinian Dogwan is over, I said. Among the 5 major alliances present, one of them counts as one, and they all have to die. Little Phoenix, kill. Long Chen shouted to Little Phoenix, who uttered a sound of wind to reply. Under the cooperation of Long Chen, Xiao Fing Wang and Long Ling, the 3 strongest powers, these imperial and king-level powerhouses of the 5 power alliances did not even have the chance to escape, and were directly wiped out in just a few minutes. It was raining in the sky, and the rain hit the ground, melting into blood water with the blood on the ground. This time the 5 power alliances mobilized nearly 10,000 people, and the weakest were tier 2 evolutionists, all of whom died here. The blood that was left even dyed the earth red. The Dragon Temple was originally at a great disadvantage, but now, no one has fallen. Chapter 259. The audience was shocked. Long Chen stood in the void, exuding a strong and domineering aura. It is like the same godless emperor, suppressing the world and overlooking the world. At this moment, whether it was the disciples of Dan Jiao in the Dragon God Temple or the people of the major forces who were watching, they had a sense of awe for Long Chen. In this world, strength is everything. With strength, everything can be suppressed, and it can be convincing. From this moment on, there will be no Qinian Dogwan in the world. Qinian Dogwan and other 5 forces will be taken over by my Dragon Temple. Long Jin's voice spread all over the void. He specifically said to those surrounding forces, just to remind them, don't think about Qinian Dogwan, these are the trophies of Dragon Temple. Qinian Dogwan and other 5 forces have killed most of the elite and strong this time, and the rest is nothing to worry about. The 5 major forces have accumulated a century of accumulation, and there must be a lot of treasures left behind. These are trophies and cannot be wasted. Take advantage of today. I announce one thing. At this moment, Long Ling suddenly appeared beside Long Chen and stood shoulder to shoulder with him. All eyes were concentrated on Long Ling, not knowing what she wanted to say. Long Ling looked around, and finally took a deep breath and said, I declare that from today onwards, Long Chen will assume the position of the Lord of the Dragon Temple. Wow! When this remark came out, it caused an uproar. This news came too suddenly, especially the disciples of the Dragon God Temple, even more at a loss. Although Long Chen is indeed very strong and saved their Dragon Temple, he cannot be directly allowed to be the Lord of the Dragon Temple. After all, the Lord of the Dragon Temple has always been the undefeated Dragon God. No matter how strong Long Chen is, what qualifications does he have to replace the undefeated Dragon God? Not only the disciples of the Dragon God Temple, but also the people of all major forces watching from a distance are also surprised. Long Ling seemed to see everyone's puzzlement and smiled slightly. I know you all have more or less opinions on this, thinking that Long Chen is not qualified to replace the undefeated Dragon God and become the Lord of this Dragon God Temple. But my next words may change your mind. Long Ling said mysteriously. What I want to tell you is that Long Chen is not only qualified to inherit the position of the Lord of the Dragon God Temple, but also the most qualified one, because he is the son of the undefeated dragon god. As soon as this was said, the audience was silent. Everyone looked incredible, including Emperor Thunder and Dong Fenghong. The undefeated dragon god has always been synonymous with mystery in everyone's hearts. People know nothing about his identity and information except for knowing that he is called the undefeated dragon god and created the Dragon Temple. Not to mention that he has a son so important. Even Dong Fenghong didn't know. He is the most familiar with the undefeated dragon god, and he is also the only one who has seen the true face of the undefeated dragon god. But he really didn't know the existence of Long Chen at all. In this world, apart from Long Ming and Ging Yan, there is probably only Long Ling who knows the existence of Long Chen and Solinum. No wonder he is so strong and talented so much. He turned out to be that guy's son. Then everything makes sense. It's really a tiger father without a dog. The undefeated dragon god guy is already against the sky. I didn't expect his son to be more than him. He is the second undefeated dragon god. Thunder Great murmured. Chapter 260. The whereabouts of Father Long Ling revealed Long Chen's identity, and no one had any objection to him taking over the Dragon Temple. Regardless of his own strength or his contribution to the Dragon Temple, Long Chen has qualified. They were originally more concerned about the identity issue, and now Long Chen's identity has also met the requirements. The only biological son of the undefeated Dragon God. Besides him, who else is qualified to inherit this Dragon God Temple? Everyone. In a month's time, the Dragon Temple will hold a new Hall Master handover meeting, and I hope everyone can come to participate in the holiday. Long Ling said, arching her hands around. People from all the major forces around did not hesitate to hear the words, and they responded. Well, I, Zong, will definitely attend on time. The Oriental Academy will definitely come to visit. The Great Sword Martial Arts Hall. The Dragon Temple was originally the strongest force in the human camp, and now there is another evildoer like Long Chen, forcibly killing the Lord of the Five Forces. Even the great Emperor Xin Yao chose to retreat. In the absence of the undefeated Dragon God, he is the strongest new generation in the human camp. Please leave now. Our Dragon Temple needs to be reorganized now. Long Ling continued. Although there were no casualties in their Dragon Temple during this battle, many buildings were destroyed. They need time to rebuild. The Ting Great and others retreated one after another, while Long Ling issued an order for the disciples of the Dragon Temple to start rebuilding the Dragon Temple. As for her, she took Long Chen into the Emperor Palace. As the most important place of the Dragon Temple, Huangjai Hall is guarded by a small formation, so it was not reduced to ruins. Chenna, I promised you that I will tell you the news of your father when you can be alone. Now that your strength is stronger than me, it is time for me to fulfill my promise. After entering the Emperor Palace, Long Ling said. Long Chen's body trembled, making him nervous. He is very concerned about the news of his parents. First of all, what I can tell you is that your father is not dead yet, Long Ling said. Hearing this, Long Chen suddenly felt his hanging heart relax. But then there was doubt. Father is not dead, so where did he go? Why has it disappeared for more than 10 years? Seeing Long Chen's doubts, Long Ling sighed. I don't know the specific whereabouts of your father, but I can assure you that your father is definitely still alive. Why? Long Chen asked. He didn't understand what Long Ling meant. It is not clear why the specific whereabouts can be determined to be alive. Long Ling had already guessed that Long Chen would have this doubt, and she had already organized the language. This is a long story. Do you know the heart of the world? Long Ling asked, but Long Chen was shocked when he heard the words. He doesn't know the heart of the world, but he has heard it. That was heard from the dialogue between the Divine Phoenix and the Dragon God in the Divine Phoenix secret realm. If he remembers well, Dragon God said that the heart of the world is the only way to become a world god. Seeing Long Chen stunned, Long Ling explained that he didn't understand. The heart of the world, as the name suggests, is the heart of the world. The human heart can dominate the life and death of a person, and the heart of the world can naturally dominate the rise and fall of a world. And it is rumored that as long as you gain the heart of the world, you can control the world and become the leader of this world. It can also be called the world god. And your father is the only world in this world today. Chapter 261, The Mystery of the Origin of the End Times Hum! Exclamation mark. As soon as Long Ling said this, Long Chen's brain buzzed blank. Although he guessed that his father could become the #1 human being, his strength must be extremely strong. But I didn't expect that he would actually be the world who controls this world. But then he suddenly realized, no wonder, even Emperor Xin Yao, who was already in the half-god state, couldn't hold on to 3 moves in the hands of the undefeated Dragon God. After all, demigods are not true gods, and the gap between them and world gods is still very large. Long Chen is a half at this time. He knows exactly how strong his strength is. It is also clear how strong Emperor Xinyao is. Although he had withstood the strongest blow from Emperor Xinyao before, it did not mean that Emperor Xinyao was not his opponent. On the contrary, even with his full blow, Emperor Xinyao should be able to catch it. Therefore, in terms of real combat power, Long Chen and Xinyao the Great should belong to half a Kati. The difference is not big. In the face of the undefeated dragon at the level of the world god, Emperor Xinyao could only catch 3 moves. It can be seen how strong the world is. As for how your father obtained the heart of the world, I will not go into details. The heart of the world has a characteristic, that is, uniqueness. A world has only one heart of the world. If you want to become a world god, you can only get the heart of the world. Your father gained the heart of the world, so the strength of Emperor Xinyao has stagnated in the realm of a demigod for nearly 100 years. Long Ling continued to explain, and Long Chen's eyes lit up. Auntie, what do you mean is that Emperor Xinyao already has the qualifications to become a god, but he has been unable to break through for a long time, because he can't get the heart of the world. And there is only one heart of the world, which was obtained by my father. If Emperor Xinyao has not become the god of the world for a day, does it mean that the heart of the world is still on my father? Yi Qianxing asked quickly, and Long Ling nodded. Yes, if the world with the world heart falls, then the world heart will return to its original place. Emperor Xinyao knows where the heart of the world is and is always paying attention, but he has not yet become a world god. This can only show one problem, that is, your father is not dead. Long Chen was overjoyed when he heard that, as long as he was still alive, there would still be hope of finding. But he still wondered why his father disappeared. He is a magnificent world god, who can make him disappear? When he asked this question, Long Ling sighed. It's from other worlds. Gods of other worlds? Long Chen was surprised. There are other worlds? Long Ling didn't mean to be impatient, and slowly talked about the original things for Long Chen. He even told him the real reason for the outbreak of the end times. The outbreak of the last days, on the surface, was caused by some greedy people digging up ancient ruins. But in fact, it is manipulated by the gods of the outside world. It is rumored that the heart of the world will only appear in times of troubled times. In order to obtain and swallow the heart of this world, the outside gods directed the origin of the end of the world 300 years ago. Why do people know the ancient ruins? How did the people who first discovered the ancient ruins discovered it? These are all problems, and now the problem is solved easily. And the black hand behind everything is the outside god. It is a pity that they planned for hundreds of years, but finally lost in the hands of the undefeated dragon god. The heart of the world that they tried so hard to obtain eventually became Long Ming. Chapter 262, Alien Civilization, 3I Tribe. In fact, the mystery of the origin of the end times was only known after your father became the of the world. Your father knew well that if you want to truly lift the end times and restore the era of peace, you must solve these alien civilizations. After you have the heart of the world and become the of the world, your father is the master of this world. In this world, he is almost invincible. However, in order to fight against alien civilization, he resolutely chose to leave this world and get out of the world. God fought a great battle. I don't know the outcome of this war, I only know that the outside has left, and your father has also lost the news. Long Ling talked about what had happened. After Long Chen heard this, his heart was touched. His father could have chosen to stay in this world. He possessed the heart of the world, and he could choose to stick to it, and it was impossible for an outside to threaten him. But for the peace of this world, for the lives of tens of millions or even hundreds of millions, Long Ming finally gave up on stealing his life. Leaving this world, fought the final battle with the outside gods. Your father had long expected that he might not be able to come back, but he didn't want you to participate in these things. So he put your young Yu and Xia or Qi in Jinling City. I hope that you will be like ordinary people, and you will be able to spend the ordinary lifetime. But he didn't know, Chenna, as his son, with the same blood as him, how could you be willing to be ordinary? Now you are the most powerful person in the world like your father. Long Ling looked at Long Chen with a gratified expression. This time the crisis of the Dragon Temple was completely turned around by him. At the beginning, the Dragon Temple was awarded the title of First Power because of Long Ming. But now it has maintained this honor because of Long Chen. Aunt, if my father is not dead, where will he go? Long Chen asked quickly. He was too anxious, so he forgot that Long Ling had said that she didn't know the news of Long Ming. Long Ling sighed again. I don't know, but I guess that your father was probably injured by the alien gods in that battle, and was eventually taken away by the alien civilization. However, with his strength, even if he loses, it is difficult to be defeated. It should be trapped somewhere. Long Ling guessed. Long Chen's eyes lit up. Long Ling's guess is not unreasonable. and his father should have been trapped somewhere. In this case, maybe they still have a chance to meet again. Auntie, what are those alien civilizations like and which planet do they come from? Long Chen asked quickly. I don't know where they came from, but I have seen them. They are a group of species very similar to humans. The only difference is that they have a third eye on their forehead. So I call them the Three-Eyed Tribe. Long Ling said. Three-Eyed? Long Chen struck the name in his heart, and the outline of them began to appear in his mind. Long Ling seemed to see Long Chen's mind and hurriedly persuaded him. I know what you are thinking, but with your current strength, you may be able to tear the void and leave this world. But what can you do even if you leave? The universe is endless and it is difficult for your father to be positioned. Even if you find it, with your current strength, it is impossible to rescue him. You can only make senseless sacrifices, unless you can break through the half-god realm and become the world god. But, Long Ling shook her head and gave a wry smile. Although she didn't say it, Long Chen knew what she meant. She wanted to say that this is simply impossible. Chapter 263, Looking for an opportunity to become a god to become the of the world. You can only pass through the heart of the world. And there is only one heart of the world, in Long Ming. Unless he died, Long Chen would not be able to get the heart of the world. But if Long Ming is dead, then what is the point of him becoming a world god? But without becoming a world god, he cannot find and rescue his father. Therefore, there is a conflict between the two. Unless, how can I become the of the world without using the heart of the world? Long Chen muttered to himself. Long Ling heard his words, but did not say anything. She didn't want to hit Long Chen, because even she couldn't accept this ending, let alone Long Chen. There must be other ways. Long Chen's face was firm. Although there is only one solution at present, it does not mean that there is no other solution. The reason why people don't know is that they didn't find it. Not that it didn't exist. Emperor Xinyao has been unable to break through for more than 100 years, because he only thought about the channel of the heart of the world, but did not think about whether there were other ways. Although Long Chen didn't know if there was a way, he was willing to try and explore. After all, he is a man with a system. Even if he couldn't find a way to become in the end, he could still pick up attributes through the system. One day, his level realm may not reach the world god, but the attributes of the body can definitely surpass the gods of the world and still have the ability to rescue his father. Auntie, I want to go around. Maybe I can find a chance to become a god. After thinking for a while, Long Chen made this decision. But don't worry, I will let my mirror clone stay here. He has the same strength as me and will definitely be able to protect the Dragon Temple. Long Chen said. Although his mirror clone can only stay for 24 hours at present, he only needs to increase his level. He believes that the stay will definitely be longer. As for the experience points for upgrading, he is not worried. From the time he smashed the Western continent to return to the Dragon Temple, he didn't know how many powerful mutant beasts or human experts had been killed, including Kinyan Taoist Master, Taixu Palace Master and others, as well as tens of thousands of disciples from the 5 major forces. At this time, the experience points he possessed are innumerable, and it is estimated that there will be more than 1 billion. Chenna, I know you don't want to give up, and Auntie won't stop you. But you have to remember, do everything you can. Life is the most important thing. After all, you are the only blood of the Long family now. Even brother, I definitely don't want you to take risks for him. Long Ling said very solemnly. In this world, although men are not inferior to women, they still pay more attention. Family blood has always been seen as the man. Aunt, don't worry, with my current strength, I can go anywhere in the world. There is basically no threat to me. Long Chen said very confidently. He is not arrogant, he has now reached the state of a demigod, and there are basically no people or things that can threaten him. Even if he can't match, escape is definitely not a problem. When you grow up, it's up to you to decide what you want to do. Long Ling sighed, and stopped persuading Long Chen, because she found that Long Chen and Long Ming are worthy of being father and son, and their personalities are simply carved out of the same model. They are also stubborn. Once a decision is made, 8 horses can't hold it. Chapter 264, Come back to the frontier battlefield next. Long Chen first spent several million experience points to upgrade the mirroring ability to the full level. Sure enough, as he expected, the full level mirroring ability is no longer limited to the time limit, but it exists all the time. This also relieved Long Chen. The mirror clone has the same strength as the body, so Long Chen doesn't worry about what will happen to the Dragon Temple. And the mirror clone is also his biggest life-saving card. Once he encounters some life danger, he can also give up the clone to save his life. Long Chen didn't bid farewell to Dugal Niu and Dragon Kwai. First, he didn't want them to worry, and second, it was unnecessary. He shares the soul with the mirror clone, he is equivalent to the mirror, So although his body has left, it is no different from staying here. Long Chen's destination is very clear, and that is the border battlefield. Dangers and opportunities coexist in the border battlefield. Of course, to Long Chen now, the border battlefield is no longer dangerous. But there are still opportunities. Maybe he can get the opportunity to become in some ancient ruins. Even if not, the border battlefield is also a good place to gain experience and attributes, and it can also contribute to mankind. Why not take such a good thing with one stone and three birds? Thinking of this, Long Chen didn't hesitate anymore and stepped forward. Under the law of space, distance is useless to Long Chen. When he appeared again, he was already in the camp of the two sisters Huye Fai and Huixin. It was midnight and the two sisters were resting in bed. Long Chen opened the curtains and saw their beautiful faces. The two sisters after falling asleep have a special flavor. Looking at it, Long Chen couldn't help but stretched out his hand towards the two sisters to touch. However, before they met them, the two sisters suddenly awakened, and simultaneously attacked Long Chen with a fire and ice dual ability attack. Damn! Long Chen was startled. But he didn't expect the two sisters to react so violently. But he was also a demigod anyway. If he couldn't stop the attacks of two kings, it would be too shameful. When the two attacks came in front of Long Chen, they were defeated by his divine power. Seeing this, the Hua sisters wanted to make a move, and heard a familiar voice. "Are you trying to murder your husband?" Long Chen said very aggrievedly. Huixin and Huye Fai finally discovered that it was Long Chen who had come. "Brother Long!" The two shouted at the same time, and then rushed towards Long Chen. Holding Long Chen tightly, there was even a choking sound. Long Chen was stunned immediately. Didn't he just make a joke? Why did he still cry? "Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you," Long Chen said hurriedly. He most looked down upon a girl crying, let alone his woman. But obviously he guessed wrong. Huixin and Huye Fai are two king-level peak powers. How could they be scared to cry? "Brother Long, we heard that the five major forces including Kinyan Taoist Temple and Taixu Palace were besieging the Dragon Temple." Chen Kinyan even bluntly asked the Dragon Temple to hand you over. "We are so worried." "Yes, if it weren't for a sudden change on the front line, we would definitely go back and help." Huye Fai and Huixin cried and said. Long Chen suddenly realized that the two girls were crying because of this. But they were obviously the news came too slowly, and they didn't even know about his powerful killing of the five major forces. Otherwise, you won't be so worried. Chapter 265, One night without sleep. Long Chen hurriedly explained everything to the second daughter, and they were relieved. "By the way, you said before that there was an abnormality on the Dark Council?" Long Chen asked suddenly. "Just now Huixin and the others said that the frontline war was tense, and it seemed that the Dark Council was about to make a big move." "Yes, the Dark Council should have known all about the five major forces besieging the Dragon Temple, so I planned to take this opportunity to launch a general attack on the Eastern Continent. I got the news that the Dark Council even sent a powerful emperor." Speaking of war, Huixin suddenly became serious. Long Chen was not surprised that the Dark Council was able to receive the news that the five major forces were besieging the Dragon Temple. The Dark Council must have arranged an undercover in the human camp. But Long Chen thought that the undercover agent still had to find out and solve it, and let the clone do it. "Gianxing, this time you directly destroyed the Kinyan Dogun and other five major forces, causing a great loss to the overall strength of the human camp. I am not to blame you, but because of this, I am afraid that the Dark Council will treat us." The Eastern Continent launched a general offensive. Huixin said with a worried look. Long Chen was very calm. "Don't worry, there are just a few Imperial weak chickens. They are nothing in front of your husband. You can solve them in time." "Okay, let's not talk about it. A moment of spring night is worth $1,000. Long Chen rubbed his hands and threw Sister Huixin onto the bed. It was another sleepless night. The next day, Long Chen asked Li Ji to convene a meeting of the major legions in the name of the two army masters of Huiyu and Huye Fai. The location is naturally the conference hall. His purpose is very simple. Isn't the Dark Council wanting to do things? Then he will fulfill them. Since you want to play, let's play bigger. In the conference hall, the commanders of the major legions had already arrived, and Long Chen came here unhurriedly. When they saw that the people were not Huixin and Huye Fai, the major army owners were stunned. But after seeing that the person who came was Long Chen, these people were shocked. At first, Long Chen used one person to solve dozens of beast kings, and then he was a man of the blood family who chased and killed the Dark Council for thousands of miles. They all know these things very well. Although they don't know the following things, they have all heard about the five major forces attacking the Dragon Temple. Some of the military masters who had received timely news already knew the end of the incident, and looked at Long Chen with awe. Long Chen. Among the military masters, One of the middle-aged men in green armor trembled suddenly. He is no one else but Chen Qingshan from Kinyan Army. However, his gaze at Long Chen at this time was no longer anger and hatred, but fear. Yes, it was full of fear, without a trace of hatred. It's not that I don't hate, but I dare not. The 5 major forces headed by Kinyan Doguin were all destroyed by Long Chen alone. Perhaps other legions had not had time to receive news about this matter, but he was definitely the first to receive news. The power of one person destroys the 5 major forces, and kills Tao Master Kinyan. Even the great Emperor Xin Yao admits that he is invincible. With such strength, Chen Qingshan, who is so small, is not qualified to hate. What he worries most at this time is that Long Chen's new and old hatred will be counted on him. Long Chen's gaze was quickly placed on Chen Qingshan's body. Feeling Long Chen's gaze, Chen Qingshan's last line of defense was also breached, screamed, and was about to flee outside the conference hall. However, his body was stopped in midair. An invisible shackle trapped him. Chapter 266. What are you running? Long Chen now wants to subdue a king-level peak evolver in the residential area without any effort. All it takes is a thought, a blockade rule. What are you running? Long Chen looked at Chen Qingshan and asked indifferently. No joy, anger, sorrow or joy can be heard in his tone. Long Chen, you have already destroyed the Kinyan Doguin. Don't even let our Kinyan Legion let it go? Do you have to cut the grass and root? When Chen Qingshan saw that he could no longer run away, he was no longer afraid. Perhaps people will only be truly bold when they know they will die. When did I say to destroy your Azure Cloud Legion? However, what surprised Chen Qingshan was that Long Chen actually gave such an answer. He was taken aback for a moment, and couldn't help asking himself. Yes, Long Chen didn't seem to say to destroy him from beginning to end, because he scared himself so much. But then I think about it, I have been against Long Chen, and the Azure Cloud Army was also cultivated by the Azure Cloud Academy. According to Long Chen's character, he should be able to cut grass and root. Long Chen saw Chen Qingshan's thoughts and shook his head. With a thought, the blockade rule was retracted. Chen Qingshan fell directly from midair. But this time he didn't choose to run away for the first time, because he knew that if Long Chen didn't want to let himself go, he would not be able to go. Kinyan Doguin is the Kinyan Doguin, and the Kinyan Legion is the Kinyan Legion. I did not put you together, and I killed only those who participated in the siege of the Dragon Temple. I did not have any of the remaining disciples of the Kinyan Doguin. Move. Long Chen said, his words are indeed truthful. Although the 5 major forces almost came out of their nests, they must have left some of their forces in the base camp. Long Chen did not choose to kill everyone. Of course, this does not mean that the remaining disciples of Kinyan Doguin are safe. What Long Chen said was that he didn't do it. But it didn't mean that Long Ling did not do it. It does not mean that other hostile forces in Kinyan Gymnasium did not take action. Of course, these things are not about Long Chen. As for what you have been provoking me, I might really kill you as an ordinary person, but for the sake of your creation and leading the Kinyan army to guard the border for so long, I will spare you for the time being. Long Chen still said indifferently, but his words gave Chen Qingshan a long sigh of relief. The strong said his promise. And since Long Chen said not to kill him, he would definitely not break his promise. There is no need to break his promise, because Long Chen wants to kill him without any conspiracy. All it takes is a thought. You can also rest assured that although our Kinyan army was created by Kinyan Taoist Temple in name, in fact, I personally cultivated every single soldier and soldier, so there is no great connection with Kinyan Taoist Temple. Our purpose is only to guard the border, and we will never avenge you because of Kinyan Gymnasium. Chen Qingshan said with a serious face. Regardless of whether what he said is true or false, he must say this sentence. And he really has no idea of revenge. Although his name is similar to Chen Kinyan, he is actually not a relative of Chen Kinyan, and he has no blood relationship at all. However, it was because he was in charge of the Kinyan army in place of Kinyan Doguin that he was given this name by Chen Kinyan. This is similar to how the ancient emperors gave names to important officials. Chapter 267, Make Big Moves. Take the initiative. Long Chen did not question Chen Qingshan's words, and there was no need to question, because he didn't worry about these at all. It was impossible for Chen Qingshan and Kinyan Legion to pose any threat to him. Just like a person never worried that if he trampled on an ant, his family and friends would come for revenge. In Long Chen's eyes, Chen Qingshan, including the entire Azure Cloud Army Corps, were nothing but ants. Chen Qingshan's affairs can only be regarded as an episode. After the leaders of the major legions gathered, the meeting began to enter the topic. Long Chen sat on the main seat and presided over the meeting. No one dared to object to this. There is only one thing to summon everyone this time. Long Chen spoke. and all the military leaders in the room sat upright, listening to Long Chen's speech with their ears up. Long Chen didn't sell Guanzi, and directly stated his purpose. Presumably you should also know that the Dark Council is getting more and more agitated. It is estimated that there will be some big moves, but we don't know what they are going to do. But these are not important. I don't know, and I don't want to know what they want to do. Since they want to do things, then we will do things too, and we will do more than them. Therefore, there is only one content of this meeting, that is, take the initiative to attack the Western continent. Wow! Exclamation mark. As soon as Long Chen's last sentence came out, the audience instantly boiled. Take the initiative to attack the Western continent. It's not unimaginable that everyone here has thought about it, but none of them have proposed it. It's not that I don't want to mention it, but I dare not mention it, because they have always been facing the Western continent. When facing the Dark Council, they are all passive. Passive defense, but there has never been a time for active offense. It's not that they didn't think about taking the initiative to attack, but they knew it was impossible. The Dark Council is too powerful, and the human camp can only reluctantly protect itself, let alone counterattack. Anyway, the Dark Council is about to make a big move. Instead of waiting, it is better to take the initiative to attack Huanglong, completely destroy the Dark Council, and restore the peace of the East Continent and even the entire world. Seeing that everyone did not speak, Long Chen continued. This is indeed his idea, to attack directly, so that he can not only improve his own strength, but also contribute to mankind. Why not do it? Lord Dragon, this idea of yours is easy to say, but it is difficult to do it. The Dark Council has gathered strong people and gathered many ancient civilizations and alien races. The overall strength is definitely not something we can compete. At this time, an old man finally stood up and said with a sigh, this person sits in the first position under Long Chen's seat, indicating that he has the highest position among all the army leaders except Long Chen. Only the Starlight Legion can sit in this position. The former leader of the Star Army died on the battlefield. Now this is the newly appointed leader of the Star Army. Long Chen glanced at him and saw his fictitious reality, the first emperor rank, better than the previous Xingyao military master. The new commander Xingyao is very respectful to Long Chen, not a fake polite, but a real respect for him. Because when Emperor Xingyao fought Long Chen before, he was also on the scene. Although he was watching from a distance, he also saw the whole process. Even the great Emperor Xingyao lost to Long Chen. How dare he disrespect? What Army Master Xingyao said was the common thinking of all the military leaders present. Why didn't they want to end the war? But I can only think about it. Chapter 268. I am not asking for your opinion. You don't need to worry about this. With me, the peak combat power of the Dark Council will naturally be handled by me. You only need to be responsible for dealing with the fish that slip through the net. Long Chen said directly. Although this sentence is very arrogant, everyone here dare not refute it, because Long Chen is fully qualified to say this sentence. Lord Dragon Palace, of course your combat value is undeniable, but the Dark Council also has strong people, especially the President of the Dark Council, who is a very mysterious power. Emperor Xingyao once played against it, but the outcome was defeated. Although the latter was also injured, Emperor Xingyao once said bluntly that the strength of the chairman of the Dark Council was above him. The new commander Xingyao said, Emperor Xingyao has only defeated 3 people so far. The first is the undefeated Dragon God, and the second is the chairman of the Dark Council. As for the third one, it was Long Chen. Against the undefeated Dragon God, Emperor Xingyao was completely defeated and only insisted on 3 moves. Against the president of the Dark Council, he was a very short move, but he was not far behind the opponent. In this way, the strength of the undefeated Dragon God should be much stronger than the president of the Dark Council. But why didn't he directly destroy the Dark Council? In fact, Long Chen asked Long Ling this question. The undefeated dragon is the only world in this world, and in this world it is an invincible existence. A Dark Council can be easily destroyed if he wants to. But the undefeated Dragon God did not do this. One is because the focus of the undefeated Dragon God at that time was on the alien civilization, and the other reason was not wanting. Although the Dark Council is threatening humanity, it is also promoting the growth of human civilization. If he destroys the Dark Council casually and ends the end time era casually, then human civilization will stagnate. Only in the face of life and death, human beings will stimulate their true potential. Human civilization will keep progressing. Long Chen agrees with the idea of the undefeated Dragon God, but it does not mean that he will do so. If Long Chen wants to improve his strength now, he can only continue to kill those zombies and mutant beasts, as well as alien races. Hey, although the strength of Emperor Xingyao is slightly worse than the guild leader of the Dark Council, if you add the Dragon Palace Master, wouldn't it be able to defeat it? In this case, the proposal of the Lord Long is also feasible, a military leader said suddenly. Everyone's eyes lit up. If Long Chen joins forces with Emperor Xin Yao, and then joins forces with superpowers such as Emperor Thunder and Master of the Great Sword Hall, there may really be a chance to destroy such a big cancer of the Dark Council. Emperor Xin Yao has always been uncertain, even I can hardly contact him. The new commander Xin Yao smiled bitterly and shook his head, expressing helplessness. The excitement of the army masters instantly extinguished. It's okay, as I said, you only need to be responsible for the slippery fish and shrimp soldiers and crabs of the Dark Council, and leave the rest to me. Of course, it is best if Emperor Xin Yao participates, but the result is the same without him. I am not asking for your opinions, but to inform you that even if you object, I will still attack the Western continent. Long Chen said. His ultimate goal is only to become stronger by slaughtering the zombies, mutant beasts and alien races of the Dark Council. As for helping humans to destroy the Dark Council, it is only secondary. If the leaders of these legions are willing to go together, then the Dark Council can be destroyed by the way. If he is unwilling, he will not persecute, but if the Dark Council is absolutely dead, then the human camp will be very passive. Chapter 269. Launch a total attack. Several military leaders looked at each other one after another, but they were still undecided. After all, this is not a trivial matter, launching a general offensive and fighting back. In case of losing, the bet would be the entire eastern continent. But in the same way, if you win, it will be the gospel of mankind. Done. The war between the human camp and the Dark Council is inevitable, but it is a matter of time. Just like the Dragon Palace Lord said, instead of waiting here and passively defending, it is better to take the initiative. With Dragon Palace Lord, our winning rate it will not be small. When everyone was hesitant, the leader of the Thunder Legion spoke first. Yes, I also agree with Long Palace Master's suggestion. Chen Qingshan immediately spoke. Both military leaders spoke, and naturally none of the other military leaders had any objections. They all raised their hands in agreement. The new commander of Star Yao sighed, but only a few obeyed the majority and chose to join. Okay, it shouldn't be too late. Go and prepare right away, and leave in an hour. Long Chen said. The soldiers did not dare to hesitate any longer, and hurriedly returned to their military camps to make preparations. Of course, it is impossible for them to dispatch the entire army, but to select the elites in the army to go there, which is considered to have left behind. Long Chen did not let the two sisters Huixin and Huifei and Jia Jian participate. After all, there was some danger in this operation. He didn't care about the lives of others. But Huixin and Huifei must not be in danger. After an hour, the major legions were ready. A total of 100,000 people participated in this operation, and each of these 100,000 people was an evolutionary, and the weakest was Tier 2. It can be said that this operation has assembled 70% of the strength of the entire border battlefield. Once it fails, the Dark Council will directly cross the border and enter the eastern continent. By then, many human cities will fall. Millions of people will be plunged into dire straits. Therefore, this action is a very big turning point. Long Chen didn't like to say anything passionate, and presumably their respective military leaders had already told them the danger of this operation. So Long Chen didn't talk nonsense, and immediately announced his departure after the crowd. A large team of 100,000 clan fighters marched toward the west on the frontier battlefield. Their marching speed was not slow, and they reached the depths of the border battlefield in 2 days. Long Chen did not intend to conceal the surprise attack, but directly broke in a powerful way. Soon, they saw countless zombies and mutant beasts, ready to go on the edge of the border battlefield. When the soldiers saw this, there was a cold sweat on their backs. Looking at it like this, it is obvious that if they do not take the initiative to attack, within 2 days, the Dark Council will launch an attack. Looking at this battle, the Dark Council definitely wants to do big things. They began to rejoice that they agreed to Long Chen's suggestion before, otherwise they might be really passive in a few days. Kill! Long Chen yelled without hesitation. Bear the brunt of the attack, and then slew towards the drenched army of zombies and alien beasts. The army behind them also launched an offensive under the orders of their respective commanders. It's just how their speed can keep up with Long Chen. Before they can take a few steps, Long Chen has already appeared in the army of zombies and alien beasts. The terrifying gravity directly crushed those low-level zombies and mutant beasts into fly ash. Chapter 270, Battlefield Scavenger Dam. This is a battlefield scavenger. In this scene, all the military leaders were stunned. Although they had anticipated Long Chen's mighty strength, they would kill tens of thousands of zombies and mutant beasts in an instant. I'm afraid that even Emperor Xinyao would not be able to do so. With this kind of strength, do we still need us? One of the military leaders issued a soul torture. According to Long Chen's speed of eliminating zombies and alien beasts, it is estimated that all the zombies and mutant beasts in the western continent will be killed in a few days, right? Of course. The premise is that he does not meet a strong opponent. Dragon Palace Lord also said before, we just need to clean up some fish that slipped through the net. Chen Qingshan said awkwardly. The commanders of their dignified legions, carrying the elites in the legions, turned out to be only used to clean up the battlefield. Although Palace Master Long alone is strong enough to deal with these zombies and mutant beasts, we can't just watch it like this. Everyone will kill with me and kill all these zombies and mutant beasts. The leader of the Thunder Legion screamed, and for the first time it rushed towards the group of zombies. Behind him followed the elite fighters of the Thunder Legion. The other legions did not hesitate when they saw it, and under the leadership of their respective military leaders, they rushed towards the zombies and mutant beasts that Long Chen had not killed. Ding, pick up successfully, and gain strength attribute 10. Ding, pick up successfully, get speed attribute 8. Ding, pick up successfully, get defensive attribute 15. Ding, pick up successfully, and get agility attribute 7. Ding, pick up successfully, get experience points 1000. Ding, pick up successfully, get the first order energy essence 1. System prompts kept ringing in Long Chen's mind. The nearby attribute small light clusters were filled with the earth, shining in Long Chen's eyes. After picking up everyone's attributes, Long Chen directly felt that his physical fitness had improved a bit. Sure enough, although he was stuck in the realm of a demigod because he couldn't get the heart of the world, his physical fitness could still be improved. If this continues, Long Chen believes that even if he never breaks through the realm of the world god, his physical fitness will definitely reach or exceed the level of the world god. The strength of Long Chen has caused the mutant beasts around to escape far away, and only these zombies who are not afraid of death still rush towards Long Chen desperately. This is in line with Long Chen's thoughts, and the Earth realm is always maintained. Within his realm, zombies below the king level can't hold on for a second and are crushed into powder. Even if it was at the level of the corpse king, it was just holding on for a while longer. In the end, it is still hard to escape the crushing ending. Why are these zombies only king level? Isn't it stronger? Long Chen couldn't help asking in his heart. He had seen mutant beasts beyond the king rank, but he had never met a zombie beyond the king rank. Stop. When Long Chen wanted to kill these zombies, a loud shout suddenly sounded. Long Chen looked for fame, and a dark shadow came into view. It was a short man in a black robe, crouching and living with a cane. It looks like a human and a ghost, but it looks a bit like an old witch in a Western fantasy movie that Long Chen has seen in his previous life. Moreover, Long Chen could obviously feel a strong breath of death from his body. Obviously, this guy is definitely not human. Chapter 271, Necromancer Hall of Dragon. She is a necromancer and has the ability to manipulate dead puppets. The reason why the Dark Council can control the zombies is because of her. The new commander of the Xinyao Legion suddenly appeared beside Long Chen and said softly, necromancers were a civilized race thousands of years ago, but unfortunately they were disgusted by other races at the time because of their habit of manipulating corpses. In the end, the race was abruptly annihilated, and there were only a few survivors. The necromancer in front of him should be the strongest among those survivors. Humans. Our Dark Council and your Xion undefeated dragon god once had an agreement to not allow strong people above the emperor rank to join the war. Why don't you abide by the agreement? The necromancer spoke. Her voice was very ethereal, and it appeared directly in the soul. The one who reached an agreement with you is the undefeated dragon god. What is my business? Besides, it seems that your Dark Council is the first to violate the agreement. Before, the Blood Clan in your Dark Council sent a Blood Emperor to kill me. How do you explain this? Long Chen said coldly. The necromancer frowned. The Blood Clan has been annihilated not long ago, so what you said cannot be verified. HMPH. The Blood Clan was destroyed by me. Of course I know that I don't need evidence either. Your age is over. Now this world belongs to our human beings. Where did you come from and where you go back? Maybe you can leave a glimmer of life! Exclamation mark. Long Chen shouted domineeringly. This sentence basically declared war. He didn't bother to find a reason to start the war, as long as he wanted it. That was the reason. Humanity. Do you know what will be brought about by a decisive battle, and can your human race bear the cost of a decisive battle? The necromancer continued to threaten. But Long Chen no longer wanted to talk nonsense with him. Noisy, as soon as the voice fell, Long Chen rushed towards the necromancer. Compared to slaughtering those low-level zombies, he is more willing to kill such Imperial-level powerhouses. The attributes and experience gained are equivalent to hundreds of thousands of zombies dead. The Seagull Trident suddenly appeared in Long Chen's hand, and the spatial displacement appeared in the depth of the necromancer, and he stabbed her heart viciously. Guardian! The necromancer yelled. Two figures suddenly appeared, splitting the left and right sides to launch a strong attack towards Long Chen. Two zombies of the late Emperor rank. Long Chen found out the strength level of these two zombies, and was shocked. I thought that the Corpse King was already the strongest among the zombies, but he did not expect that there would still be a Corpse King. However, the mere Imperial rank is nothing to Long Chen. Even at the peak of the Imperial rank, he can easily kill it, not to mention the two zombies of the late Imperial rank. Many arm as a car, die for me. Long Chen screamed, and the Seagull Trident in his hand turned into a stab, and directly cut the Corpse Emperor on the left in half. Then another punch was blasted out, headshot the Corpse Emperor on the right, and the movement was fluent, but in the blink of an eye, two high-level Corpse Emperors died in Long Chen's hands. Ding! The pickup is successful, and the power attribute 40 watts is obtained. Ding! Pick up successfully, get speed attribute 36 watts. Ding! Successfully picked up, and gained defense attribute 42 watts. Ding! Pick up successfully, and get agility attribute 30 watts. Ding! Pick up successfully, get experience value 8000 watts. Ding! Successfully picked up, and obtains the Imperial High Order Energy Essence Element 2. Chapter 272, the Ancient Beast Gluttonous What? When the necromancer saw that his two capable fighters and his right-hand man had been killed so easily, he was shocked, but his already hideous face became even more terrifying. Even the Imperial Peak can't kill them so easily. Why are you ... Have you reached the state of a demigod? The necromancer seemed to suddenly think of something, and exclaimed. Long Chen sneered. Now that I know, I still don't judge myself, and I can stay a little decent. The face of the necromancer suddenly changed. Very angry. For a strong man, only death in battle is the most decent. Self-decision is the work of a coward. Long Chen made it self-confident, that is, provoking and taunting it. But this necromancer knew that if the human powerhouse in front of him had really reached the state of a demigod, then he could not be his opponent anyway. Humans, don't be too arrogant. Do you think you are really invincible when you reach the half-god state? HMPH, as long as we grow up, you will definitely die. The necromancer gave a violent shout and tried to threaten Long Chen with the name of the chairman of the Dark Council. However, it failed, and Long Chen himself came to this Dark Council president. Since you don't plan to dictate yourself, then I can only do it myself. Long Chen said coldly, and the Seagull Trident slashed down. The necromancer felt the supreme power contained in the Seagull's Trident, and he did not dare to resist it. The figure rushed towards the group of zombies. And thousands of zombies were also under the control of the necromancer, swarming towards Long Chen. Wow! A sea blue light slashed through the air directly, and all the zombies touched by the blue light were directly turned into fly ash. When the wind blows, it disappears into this world. Long Chen's figure flashed, and the law of space urged him to quickly catch up with the necromancer. Compared with speed, Long Chen has not been afraid of anyone. Dead. Long Chen was holding the Seagull's Trident, and the back figure running towards the necromancer was a sting. The endless sea blue light condensed into a halberd shadow, and instantly came behind the necromancer. Help me! The necromancer roared wildly. At this moment, when the halberd shadow was about to penetrate the necromancer, a huge beast shadow flew out from the ground. The halberd was swallowed in one bite. Belch! Exclamation mark. After swallowing the halberd shadow, the giant beast made a loud hiccup. Ha ha ha, I haven't eaten so full for a long time. The behemoth let out a big laugh, and Long Chen narrowed his eyes, staring at the behemoth. He could feel the extremely powerful power from this giant beast. Although he concluded that it was only at the peak level of the beast sovereign under the glance of the divine power, Long Chen knew very well that among the same level, other beasts were more powerful. Humans are too strong. This behemoth must have a very powerful bloodline, and it may even be not much lower than that of Little Phoenix. For these ancient monsters, the stronger the bloodline, the stronger the strength. Toti, be careful. This human being should have reached the state of a demigod, the necromancer said to the behemoth. But Toti obviously didn't listen. What about the demigod? A demigod from the human camp came to fight me decades ago. When did I persuade me? Even though I lost in the end, he couldn't help me. In the past few decades, my strength has improved a lot. Even a demigod, I can fight. Toti said very confidently. Chapter 273. Go away gluttonous. one of the four great beasts of ancient times. Long Chen squinted his eyes to look at the behemoth. He has heard of the name gluttony, not only in the memory of this life, but also in the previous life. The four great beasts of ancient times are Kai and Kai, or May, Bane and Chaos. Each one is extremely powerful, especially this gluttonous food. Legends can swallow the world and it is very terrifying. If I guess right, your Dark Council can control the Zombie Legion by the Necromancer, and can control the Alien Beast Legion by you, right? Long Chen asked. Mutant beasts are particularly sensitive to bloodline suppression. As one of the four great fierce beasts in the ancient times, the bloodline level is not lower than that of the phoenix and dragons, and the mutant beasts dare not defy their orders. In fact, Long Chen's bloodline level has far surpassed Lu Ti. As long as he wants to release a trace of bloodline aura, it is enough to make all mutant beasts on the scene listen to his orders. But Long Chen didn't do this, nor did he plan to do it. What he needs are attribute points and experience points. These mutant beasts can provide him. He does not need these mutant beasts to surrender. He just wants to kill them. Yes, as long as you kill me, the strange beast army of the Dark Council will have a group of dragons without a leader. But can you kill me? The gluttonous tone was full of provocation. Orme is militant and will not admit defeat. More than 10 years ago, he fought once with Emperor Xin Yao, but finally lost. This is actually what everyone expected. After all, Emperor Xin Yao is second only to the undefeated dragon in the human camp, the peerless powerhouse in the half-god realm. Even the president of their Dark Council can only barely win. If you can't beat even a gluttony, that would be strange. But everyone thinks that way. Only Orme doesn't think so. As one of the four great beasts of the ancient times, with the top and noble bloodline, it admits that it doesn't lose anyone. Even facing the president of the Dark Council, it is still not convinced. Losing to the chairman of the Dark Council was his first shame, and defeating to Emperor Xin Yao was his second shame. He was thinking about washing away these two shames every moment. But now he can't do anything to the chairman of the Dark Council, and Emperor Xin Yao doesn't know where to hide. If he wants to clear his shame, he has only one way, and that is to defeat a human power with the same strength as Emperor Xin Yao. There is no doubt that Long Chen is his first choice and only target. After all, apart from the Xin Yao Great, the entire human camp now has only this powerhouse in the semi-god realm. Unfortunately, he picked the wrong person. Kulong has no leader, just you, also worthy of this idiom. Long Chen sneered, and he didn't persuade anyone on mocking methods. Since you want to die, I will send kindness to you. When the voice fell, Long Chen held a trident of the sea god in his hand, and the endless blue light instantly turned into a huge halberd shadow, angrily cut down towards the huge body of gluttonous. It is the strongest single trick of Poseidon's 7 forms. Annihilation. Got. He'll help you. The necromancer shook the wand in his hand, trying to summon the undead to help gluttonously. However, before halfway through the operation, he was thrown into the air by a gluttonous paw. Go away. Don't mix Lao Tzu's fight. If you dare to get closer, Lao Tzu will run you over. Toti roared. How can he allow more bullying less noble? Chapter 274, You fell down before I could help. The necromancer was flew out by a gluttonous bullet, and immediately became angry. But he dared not speak. As an ancient fierce beast, Toti is terrifying in strength, second only to the president in the Dark Council. Even if she was in her peak state and was not yet a gluttonous opponent, not to mention that the two capable officers who had just been killed by Long Chen were greatly damaged, and she was not gluttonous opponent. HMPH. Arrogance will pay the price. Don't beg me then. The necromancer let out a cruel word and left directly. Toti ignored the necromancer, but patted a giant claw directly at Long Chen. It is your honor to be the dead soul under my claws. Orme roared. The huge claws pressed towards Long Chen as if covering the sky and the sun. Small bugs. Long Chen snorted coldly and transformed into a dragon and phoenix state. A dragon claw collided with a gluttonous giant claw. Although Long Chen's dragon claw is like an ant compared to gluttony, but the strength is not determined by the size. In terms of strength alone, Long Chen has far surpassed the great Xin Yao. After acquiring so many attribute points, his physical fitness far surpassed his previous self. Long Chen guessed that maybe he was not far from the world god. Although Toti was an ancient fierce beast, it did not take that step to reach the state of a demigod. So than strength, it is not Long Chen's opponent. Just hearing a boom, the space trembled, and the gluttonous huge body flew out directly. Thousands of zombies and strange animals were killed. These dropped attributes and experience. Long Chen would naturally not be polite, and the flesh of flies was also flesh, so he would accept them all. How can your power be so great? Toti struggled to get up, his tone full of incredible. After all, in terms of power, They are by no means inferior to any existence. The reason why Toti had the confidence to challenge the demigod at the pinnacle of the emperor rank was based on the natural supernatural power of the ancient fierce beast. It is precisely because of this that it was able to hold on for so long in the hands of Emperor Xin Yao. But now, it was directly defeated by Long Chen in strength, and its advantage collapsed instantly. Is it big? I haven't done my best yet. Long Chen laughed. He was not pretending to be forced, but fact. He just used only 70% of his power. His power itself surpassed the general demigod realm, and after transforming into a dragon and phoenix state, his power skyrocketed many times. It would be too shameful if he had to use all his strength to deal with a gluttonous imperial peak. Take me one more trick, the of Nirvana. As soon as Long Chen's sword pointed out, a black thunder turned into a sharp blade and shot towards the gluttonous. The gluttonous blood basin took a big mouth and swallowed it directly. Then he burped, "No matter how powerful you are, I have the ability to swallow the sky, and no matter how you attack, I won't be able to hurt my hair." Gluttonous laughed wildly. "Really? Then you take my trick again." Long Chen snorted coldly, the law of death with his left hand and the law of life with his right hand. The two merge into a yin and yang picture. Life and death mark extinction. Long Chen shouted. The yin and yang picture flew out and attacked towards the gluttony. Glutton's face was disdainful, and any energetic attack would be ineffective against it, because it could swallow it. With a big mouth, the picture of yin and yang was swallowed directly into the stomach. "What else can you do?" "Let me do it all." The gluttonous laughter. "These attacks that are swallowed by it will turn into pure energy to enhance its strength. This is one of the reasons why it is warlike. It's cool to think about swallowing others' attacks to supplement yourself." Chapter 275, The Death of War. May want to take other tricks. You may not have a chance. Long Chen sneered. When Yuti wanted to ask why, he saw Long Chen snap his fingers, and then said softly, "Burst." Immediately after hearing a bang, Toti's belly burst open. "Impossible. Impossible. My stomach can swallow all the energy in the world. How could you hurt me?" The gluttony roared wildly, very incredulous. At the beginning, even the power of stars that Emperor Xin Yao had stored for nearly 10 years was swallowed by it, and there was no backlash. Now that its strength has greatly increased, why can't it swallow Long Chen's casual blow? The two repelling energy bodies fuse and explode in your body. Not to mention that you are only at the Beast King level. Even if you become a demigod, you cannot bear it. Long Chen sneered. The marker of life and death is one of his most explosive skills at the moment. How could it be swallowed by gluttony like this? I don't accept it. I don't accept it. Toti struggled to get up. Although his stomach was leaking, he was an ancient beast with strong blood and could not easily die. At this point it wanted to make the final blow that was dying. Kill. Toti jumped up and rushed towards Long Chen, looking for a dead end. Long Chen shook his head, clenched his fist that had already turned into a dragon's claws, gathered all his strength, and slammed towards the gluttonous food. This punch, with all his strength, can be regarded as Long Chen's last respect for the ancient fierce beast. Boom! Exclamation mark. Toti's claws hadn't touched Long Chen, and the latter had already teleported over it. A punch directly penetrated Toti's head. Bang! The gluttonous huge body fell heavily to the ground, and the vitality dissipated. Long Chen retracted his hand. At this time, his dragon claws were still covered with black energy, which was the law of death. As an ancient fierce beast, gluttony has a tenacious vitality. Only by blessing the law of death can it be killed in one blow. Ding! The pickup is successful, and the power attribute 100 watts is obtained. Ding! Pick up successfully, get defensive attribute 90 watts. Ding! Pick up successfully, get experience value 10,000 watts. Ding! Successfully picked up, and obtained the peak energy essence of the Beast Emperor 1. Ding! The pickup is successful, and the fragment of the law of swallowing is obtained. Will it fuse? The gluttonous beast is worthy of being an ancient fierce beast, and the attribute points and experience points it drops are far more than those of the same level of human evolution. Fusion. Long Chen nodded, and a strange feeling surged into his heart instantly. The understanding of the law of swallowing was instantly imprinted in Long Chen's mind, and he couldn't get rid of it. Ding! The fusion is successful, and the phagocytic rule LV1 is obtained. The law of swallowing, it can swallow everything and turn everything into pure energy to supplement itself. This swallowing law is indeed against the sky, and is the best ability to accelerate cultivation. It's a pity that for the current Long Chen, it doesn't have much effect besides dissolving other people's attacks. After all, it is useless for him to absorb energy at present, and can only rely on the system to pick up attributes to improve himself. But if there are too many skills, Long Chen still doesn't dislike these rules. Sweeping the battlefield for a week, the gluttonous animal died. The mutant beasts without a leader, suddenly turned into birds and beasts, and wanted to escape. But how could Long Chen give them a chance? The Earth domain was released, and a radius of hundreds of miles instantly became his home court. Mutant beasts were crushed into meatloaf one after another, bursting out masses of attribute points and experience points. Chapter 276. Gods fight, mortals suffer. Kill, go straight to Huanglong, destroy the Dark Council, and end this last days. Return mankind to a peaceful and prosperous age. After seeing Long Chen's explosive combat power, the military masters are more confident that he can lead mankind to end the end times. One after another was surging, leading the army to attack. But how could their speed be comparable to Long Chen? Every time they advance a certain distance, they will find that most of the zombies and mutant beasts are all dead, leaving only a few defeated soldiers and fish that slip through the net. All the elite soldiers of the major legions were present, and it would be no problem to deal with the defeat of these remnants. As a result, the major legions successively passed through several passes of the Dark Council, but did not damage a single soldier or a general. When did war become so simple? Someone can't help but ask such questions. Every soldier present, large and small, has experienced at least 100 wars, and that time was on the brink of life and death. Only this time, they felt like they were coming to cheer up. Boom! Exclamation mark. When Long Chen once again killed thousands of zombies and mutant beasts with a powerful force, he was not far from the end. The end is the headquarters of the Dark Council. But there is no longer any need for Long Chen to break into the headquarters of the Dark Council, because at this time, a dozen figures appeared in front of him. All are aliens from ancient civilizations. The C position standing in the middle is a person covered in black robe. At his feet was a 9-headed flood dragon of the Beast Emperor class. It seems that the self-righteous idiot has died in your hands, right? The necromancer stepped forward and asked coldly. Compared to you, I appreciate gluttonous food, because at least it is not a deserter. Long Chen glanced at the necromancer, full of disdain. He focused his gaze directly on the black-robed man on the 9-headed dragon. HMPH. What do you know? That's not an escape, but a strategic shift. The face of the necromancer was flushed by Long Chen. Long Chen glanced at her in surprise. Is this guy so thick-skinned? Can escape be called a strategic shift? As far as the degree of shame, I convince you the most, Long Chen said with a serious face. Even some people on the opposite side almost couldn't help but laugh. The necromancer blushed even more. Humans, don't be too arrogant. Now our president is here. When the president will behead you, I will lead the zombie army to Huanglong and destroy your eastern continent. The necromancer roared wildly. Hee. Just rely on your chairman. A person who dare not even show his true face is worthy of talking about killing me. Long Chen mocked with disdain. Presumptuous. As soon as Long Chen said this, the 9 heads of the 9-headed flood dragon roared at the same time, shaking the sky. The elites of the major legions behind Long Chen were shocked to their eardrums, and some of the weak were even directly fainted. How could a low-level evolutionary like them be able to contend with the power of a beast king, a level alien beast? Humphrey. Long Chen frowned and snorted coldly. The breath of god-level blood leaked out, and the coercion of the 9-headed flood dragon was immediately suppressed. The soldiers behind him breathed a sigh of relief. You guys step back first, Long Chen said softly. After several military leaders looked at each other, they did not insist on staying, because they knew that they were not able to intervene in the next battle. No, they don't even have the qualifications to watch, because the mortals suffered from fighting with the gods. In their eyes, Long Chen and the strong man on the opposite Dark Council were like gods. Chapter 277, Go to war. Not everyone is qualified to see my true face. The black-robed man with the 9-headed flood dragon finally spoke. His voice is not so special, just like ordinary people. Although my Dark Council is constantly fighting with your humans, it has always been a small fight and has never been true. And your move today is to declare war on my Dark Council. You are sure that you humans can bear the price? Question mark. The black-robed man asked. Okay, it's all to this level, so stop talking nonsense. Even if I don't come this time, your Dark Council should be almost unbearable. Instead of waiting for you to initiate a decisive battle, it is better to take the initiative and destroy you. Mankind will no longer be threatened. Long Chen said. Kill us? It's you? Or the group of shrimp soldiers and crabs behind you? The black-robed man's voice was full of mockery. Looking at your appearance, you should have just broken through the half-god realm, and you are eager to express yourself. Unfortunately, you picked the wrong object. Even the second strongest in your human camp, Xin Yao the Great, is my defeat, not to mention you. If your strongest undefeated dragon god is still there, I might still be jealous. Unfortunately, he may never come back. The ruler of this planet will soon change. I wanted to give you humans another chance to breathe. but your move has accelerated the demise of mankind. The black-robed man laughed and said, when Long Chen heard him talk about the undefeated dragon god, his heart suddenly rose. Do you know about the undefeated dragon god? Long Chen asked anxiously. The black-robed man seemed to be taken aback when he saw this, and the face hidden in the black robe showed a thoughtful color. You care about the undefeated dragon god so much, don't you have anything to do with him? To be honest, I seem to be familiar with your appearance, the black-robed man said in a weird tone. And what he said made Long Chen more sure that this guy probably knew about his father's situation. Say it. Long Chen took the seated trident and shouted angrily at the black-robed man. But the black-robed man did not have the slightest fear, and even laughed. Presumably I guessed right. You do have a relationship with him, and I don't hide it from you. I do know his situation. But why should I tell you? The black-robed man laughed. He thought that his words should make Long Chen angry, but he was wrong. After Long Chen took a deep breath, he unexpectedly returned to calm. Even smiled faintly. What I'm afraid of is that you don't know, and as long as you know, I have a way for you to say it. As soon as the voice fell, Long Chen instantly disappeared in place. He doesn't want to talk nonsense anymore. Huh? The law of space. The black-robed man was surprised that the law of space was the top one among the many laws. It was very difficult to comprehend, but he didn't expect Long Chen to comprehend it, and it seems to be quite deep. However, the black-robed man was only taken aback, reacted quickly, and turned around to take a palm. Long Chen's figure just appeared behind him. It's just that his attack was not aimed at the black-robed man, but the nine-headed flood dragon under the black-robed man. I have endured you for a long time, die. Long Chen shouted violently, and the seated trident quickly pierced 9 times with the momentum of thunder. 9 Seebly light and shadows shot out, which happened to be aimed at the 9 heads of the 9-headed flood dragon. Roar! The 9 heads of the 9-headed flood dragon uttered dragons at the same time, spouting water, fire, and lightning. Facing the 9 halberds pierced by Long Chen. Chapter 278, Attack of the Fusion of 5 Laws. However, the wind, fire, thunder and lightning spewed by the 9-headed dragon was strongly shattered as soon as it hit the shadow of the halberd. The halberd shadow's power remained unabated, and suddenly bombarded the 9 heads of the 9-headed flood dragon. Boom! 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 9 explosions sounded, and the 9 heads of the 9-headed flood dragon exploded directly. The huge body collapsed suddenly. Standing on it, the black-robed man jumped to the ground perfectly, just clenching his fists. Long Chen killed his mount in front of his eyes, which was the biggest challenge to him. Ding! The pickup is successful, and the power attribute 100 watts is obtained. Ding! Pickup successfully, get defensive attribute 90 watts. Ding! Pickup successfully, get experience value 10,000 watts. Ding! The pickup is successful, and the Beast Emperor's Advanced Energy Essence 1 is obtained. By picking up the attribute points and experience points dropped by the 9-headed dragon after death, Long Chen's physical fitness has been enhanced a lot. Boy, you angered me. The black-robed man's voice already contained raging anger. His figure flashed, and his body turned into an afterimage, and quickly rushed in front of Long Chen. A punch came out. Long Chen didn't avoid it at all, and fisted. Boom! Exclamation mark. 2 punches collided, and the 2 of them stepped back. Long Chen stepped back 2 steps and shook his numb hand, but the black-robed man stepped back more than a dozen steps, his arm drooping and shaking slightly. Obviously, Long Chen had the upper hand in the first round of collision. How can your power be so strong? It has surpassed the limit that the body of the demigod can withstand. The black-robed man's tone was shocked. After reaching the semi-god state, the physical quality can no longer be improved, unless it can break through to the level. Therefore, the physical fitness of every powerhouse in the demigod realm should be similar. But the power that Long Chen just released was much stronger than the black-robed man. This power can even faintly reach the level of god level. Of course, it's just power. Power doesn't represent strength. What a god-level powerhouse is really powerful is not power, but manipulation of the power of the world. Speak the whereabouts of the undefeated dragon god. I will consider keeping you alive. Long Chen said calmly. Ha ha ha. Do you really think you can win if you have some strength? I tell you, the battle between demigods is not determined by strength. As soon as the black-robed man's voice fell, he moved. He squeezed 5 of them, flipped his hand and blasted a punch, directly hitting a colorful dragon-shaped energy body. Long Chen could feel the breath of 5 or 6 laws from this dragon-shaped energy body. The law of fire, the law of frost, the law of King Kong, the law of darkness, and the law of thunder. This guy actually understands so many laws. Long Chen frowned. Many people spend their main energy on comprehending 1 or 2 laws, because the more laws, the more energy and resources they need to consume, and the gains outweigh the losses. It is better to study one law and master it, not worse than comprehend multiple laws. Long Chen is different. He has a system, he doesn't need to comprehend it at all, he only needs to pick up attribute points and experience points. That's why he has so many laws. How did this black-robed man comprehend so many laws? And it seems that every law he comprehends is not just as simple as a first glimpse of the door, and the 5 laws can be blended. Even Long Chen can't do it. Door I Tan Long Law, Town. A loud voice yelled from the black-robe population, and the 5-color dragon suddenly uttered a breathtaking dragon chant, rushed towards Long Chen. Chapter 279. 3 Eyes. This 5-color dragon combines the power of 5 laws, and the power of each law is very powerful. It's no wonder that even Emperor Xin Yao is not the opponent of this Dark Council president. With such strength, Long Chen estimated that he hadn't done his best when fighting with Emperor Xin Yao. Otherwise, Long Chen's understanding of the strength of Emperor Xin Yao would definitely be much worse than that of the Dark Council president. The same is a half-god realm, but the strength is not necessarily. Emperor Xin Yao specializes in the laws of stars, condensing the power of stars, and with full burst, the strength should be considered a little lower among the demigods, and this Dark Council president is proficient in many laws, and his strength is absolutely middle and upper. Long Chen is at the top level, he even has the confidence to become the first person below the level. The law of time, time goes backwards. The law of time in the palm of Long Chen reverses time. As soon as the 5-color dragon rushed out of the hands of the president of the Dark Council, it was enveloped by a mysterious force. The pattern of time vibrated, and the time in the space where the Dark Council was located was reversed. The 5-color divine dragon that rushed out strangely retracted, turned into the 5 principles and returned to the body of the president of the Dark Council. It's like you spit out the spit, and the spit comes back to your mouth. It's disgusting. This is the law of time. The man in black robes shrouded in the law of time exclaimed, "The law of time, like the law of space, is the top law among thousands of laws, and it is even more difficult to comprehend than the law of space." He really did not expect that Long Chen not only realized the law of space, but also realized the law of time. The 2 top-notch laws appear in a person's body at the same time. What a great talent this should be. However, the black-robed man knew that this was not the time to be shocked. He quickly mobilized the power of the law in his body and burst out, shattered the law of time shrouded in surroundings. But it was still too late. Long Chen's attack had arrived, and the seed-god trident stabbed at his head fiercely. "Royal!" the black-robed man yelled, and a temporary shield of law appeared. But only resisted for a moment, and was pierced by Long Chen. But this time was enough, and the black-robed man's head tilted away from the trident. Only the power of the trident broke the black robe of the black-robed man, revealed his true face of Lashan. When Long Chen saw the black-robed man's face, his heart shook directly. The face of the black-robed man was similar to that of a normal person, with 1 nose, 1 mouth and 2 ears. The difference is that on his forehead, there is still an eye vertical, similar to the Erlang god Yang Jian in Long Chen's previous life. But at this time Long Chen was not surprised by this, but rather, he remembered what his aunt Long Ling had told him before. The real crisis in the last days is not the zombies and mutant beasts or alien races, but the aliens, the civilization race from another planet, the 3-eyed race. Moreover, his father, the guardian of this world, is the undefeated dragon god. The news was lost in the battle with the world of the 3-eyed race. "Human, you completely offended me." Hipao people, no, they should be called 3-eyed people now. The 3-eyed tribe had a hideous look at this time. Just now, he really felt the feeling of death passing by. This made him terrified, and he could never underestimate the enemy. Otherwise, he is likely to die. Chapter 280, The Might of the Phoenix Divine Fire Dead. The 3-eyed clan uttered a rage, and the vertical eye above his forehead suddenly shone with a golden light towards Long Chen, lissing away. "It's so scary." Long Chen was shocked, and he felt a terrifying aura no weaker than the previous 5-color dragon from this golden light. But it does not contain any power of law, it is the simplest energy attack. Long Chen guessed that this should be an attack method unique to the 3 eyes. He has just used the law of time once and cannot use it again. Time backwards consumes too much mental energy, and in easier to understand terms, there is a cooling time. But Long Chen's trump card is not just the law of time. Life and death seal. Suppress me. Long Chen's left-handed law of life and his right-handed law of death combined a yin and yang picture. Flew towards the golden light coming from the lissing. The golden light shot on the seal of life and death, and immediately collided with a terrifying explosion. Even the void was burst into bursts of space cracks. One halberd annihilation. Long Chen urged the law of space and teleported behind the three-eyed people. The strongest blow of the Poseidon's 7 forms broke out, turning into a huge halberd shadow and piercing the three-eyed clan. Broken. The three-eyed tribe quickly turned around, and the vertical eyes shot a golden light again. Smash the halberd shadow. Long Chen teleported to the front of the three-eyed tribe, and his fist, which had already turned into a dragon's claw, slammed on his chest. The latter's chest dented at a speed visible to the naked eye. It's just that for a strong man in the semi-god realm, it is very difficult to kill unless he kills with a single blow. Not to mention such a minor injury. It quickly recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Tweeted. Another golden light shot towards Long Chen, and was teleported to avoid him. It's over, Phoenix Divine Fire. Long Chen was suspended in the air, and the wings of the phoenix behind him were burning with golden flames. As Long Chen's voice fell, the surging Phoenix Divine Fire suddenly turned into a fire wave and attacked towards the Three Eyes tribe. The Law of Frost. Freeze me. The Three Eyes tribe released the Law of Frost and tried to deal with the Phoenix Divine Fire by means of mutual restraint. But how did he know that the Phoenix Divine Fire was not afraid of frost at all, and even the Law of Water had no effect on it? Burn it for me. The Phoenix Divine Fire burned the Law of Frost to death, and continued to invade the Three Eyes. How is this possible? The three-eyed people's complexion changed, and they could already feel the heat wave on their faces. Withdraw. The three-eyed tribe tried to evacuate, but how could Long Chen be as he wanted? The Law of Imprisonment of the Void urged, and the cage of the void immediately imprisoned the three-eyed tribe. Although it was only broken open by the three-eyed clan in an instant, it still won time for the Phoenix Divine Fire. What? The Phoenix Divine Fire directly submerged the three-eyed clan members, and the screams of the three-eyed clan members were heard in the sea of fire. What? The president was defeated. Upon seeing this, the upper level of the Dark Council below suddenly changed his face. Especially the Necromancer has already begun to want to escape. But her little movement was discovered by Long Chen, and of Nirvana shot out, directly piercing her head. The Law of Death swallows the life of the Necromancer. Necromancer, pawn. No one can escape. Long Chen sneered, and separated a Phoenix Divine Fire to land on the ground, burning all the high-level members of the Dark Council to ashes. Only the attribute points and experience points were left, which were absorbed by Long Chen. Chapter 281, Chase the Dark Council. Was it destroyed by the regiment? The commanders of the major legions who watched the battle from a distance had incredible expressions. What their entire human camp had been unable to do for hundreds of years had now been achieved by Long Chen alone. And how long did it take in total? It's less than a day. The high-level members of the Dark Council have been beheaded to death, and the remaining monsters and ghosts can't make much noise. Soldiers of their legions can deal with them. So now it is true that the Dark Council is over. However, Long Chen was not as optimistic as the major military masters at this time. He stared at the three-eyed tribe that had been swallowed by the Phoenix Divine Fire. Although the Phoenix Divine Fire was very powerful, Long Chen felt that the three-eyed tribe would not be easily defeated. Sure enough, in the raging fire, a black shadow quickly flew out. It is the three-eyed tribe. It's just that he was not well at this time, very embarrassed. All his clothes and pants were burned, and his fleshly skin was burnt to black. He looked at the high-level members of the Dark Council that had been burned to ashes, showing an angry look. In order to create and develop the Dark Council, he has spent so much effort, and now they are all gone. Without these mainstays, it will take hundreds of years to repeat the glory of the Dark Council. Moreover, this is the premise that he can leave alive. Boy, you hurt my foundation and ruined my hundreds of years of hard work. Today, Aliguli remembers everything in my heart. When I rise again, it will be the time when you and the entire human race will perish. The three-eyed tribe screamed from the sky, and the world shook. This is a vow made by a semi-god powerhouse using the laws of heaven and earth. If it fails to do so, there will be no further progress in future strength. This three-eyed tribe Aliguli broke his back. When the voice fell, Aliguli's vertical eyes shot out a bright golden light. The golden light flicked across the void, directly opening a space crack. Aliguli obviously didn't understand the law of space. He was tearing space by force. As soon as the void crack opened, Aliguli broke in without hesitation. HMPH, play with me through space. you are still tender. Long Chen gave a cold snort of disdain, and directly followed him. Aliguli is a disaster and must be killed, otherwise it will be a catastrophe for mankind in 100 years. Moreover, there is another reason why Yi Qianxing must catch Aliguli. This guy is the only three-eyed tribe he has ever seen. According to Aunt Longling, the disappearance of his father is inseparable from the 3 eyes. He must catch Aliguli and tell his father's whereabouts. Long Chen, who has understood the law of space, travels through space as simple as breathing, directly entering the different space, and chasing him in the direction of Aliguli. Soon he saw Aliguli running away from the back. The latter obviously also found that Long Chen was catching up, and his expression suddenly changed. Remembering that Long Chen had already comprehended the law of space, it was even less likely that he was his opponent in this chaotic void. Aliguli was in distress. Do you really want to chase after death and cut the roots? Aliguli knew that he couldn't escape, so he stopped and shouted to Long Chen. Hee, you have already sworn to destroy the human race. Do you think I can let you go? Long Chen sneered. Even without that vow, he might still keep each other alive because of his father's news. But Aliguli had already taken the oath to kill Long Chen and destroy the human race. So no matter what, this person could not stay. Chapter 282, It's a routine. Don't you want to know the news of the undefeated dragon god? I can tell you he is still alive, and I know where he is now. As long as you let me go, I will tell you all. Aliguli said quickly. Sure enough, when Long Chen heard this, his eyes suddenly shinned. Well, you say now, I can spare your life. Long Chen said quickly. I want you to swear to heaven and earth by law. Aliguli was very cautious and couldn't easily believe Long Chen. Long Chen frowned slightly, and once the power of the law swears to heaven and earth, he must follow the oath. Otherwise, stagnation in the realm will be at risk of life. However, after hesitating for a while, Long Chen still took a deep breath, and the power of urging the law resonated with the world. Wu Long Chen swears to heaven and earth by law, as long as Aliguli tells me the news of the undefeated dragon god, I will not kill you. Long Chen said. The world was turbulent, and the vow was fulfilled. Of course, Long Chen couldn't just let Aliguli go. Although he couldn't kill him because of the oath, he could be suppressed by the Hoshan Tower. After he was strong enough to break the constraints of the oath of heaven and earth, it would not be too late to kill. Ha ha ha, well, then I will tell you about the undefeated dragon god. Aliguli laughed, and Long Chen hurriedly pricked his ears to listen. At the beginning, the undefeated dragon in our world Zhendaya fought a decisive battle outside the realm. In the end he was defeated by Zhendaya. Aliguli suddenly said nothing. And then, Long Chen hurriedly asked. Aliguli showed a wicked smile. Then you go to die. Aliguli shouted violently, and the vertical eyes on his forehead shot out a golden light. Hit Long Chen directly. Caught death. Long Chen's eyes widened, and the seagull trident stabbed, directly blocking the golden light. However, Aliguli's purpose was not to kill Long Chen, but to escape. When the golden light had already been shot out, he took out a treasure, crushed it, and exploded in the chaotic void. A whirlpool appeared in an instant. Aliguli ran directly into the vortex. Long Chen glanced at the spatial vortex, frowning. With his understanding of the laws of space, he could tell at a glance that this spatial vortex was a teleportation space, and it was also a non-directional teleportation array. No matter, chase after. Long Chen was heartbroken, and Aliguli dared to play tricks on himself, and he must not let it go. Thinking of this, Long Chen chased after him without thinking too much, breaking into the space vortex. As soon as he entered the space vortex, Long Chen felt an upside down, and he understood that this was the normal state of space transmission. When he recovered his consciousness, Long Chen found that he was still in the void, but the space here was very stable. There is no turbulence in space, and all you can see is darkness and silence. What is this place, different from ordinary void? Long Chen frowned slightly. His spiritual power spread, and there was no trace of Aliguli. And he found that his divine power was actually suppressed in this void. Originally it could extend hundreds of kilometers outside, but here, it can only cover a few hundred meters around it. The place covered by the divine power was still pitch black and dead. It should have been teleported to a different place. Damn it, it's careless. I knew I would catch him first. Long Chen slapped his forehead, very depressed. Chapter 283, The Land of Chaos. In fact, it wasn't that Long Chen was too stupid, but that he cared too much about his father's news at the time. As the so-called concern is chaos, this is the case. But now it's useless to think more. Long Chen felt that he still had to figure out what this place was. The divine power cannot spread too far here, so Long Chen is still very careful and slowly advances. Huh? Something is approaching me. Suddenly, Long Chen's spiritual power moved and he noticed fluctuations several hundred meters away. But because he was at the margin of his spiritual power coverage, he couldn't see exactly what it was. Long Chen hurriedly walked in that direction, and soon a blue leopard appeared in his divine power. Is this a different beast? There are mutant beasts in the depths of the void? Long Chen was very shocked, and his divine power also felt a chill from the mutant leopard. Some familiar feelings seemed to be the breath of frost law. Long Chen did not comprehend the law of frost, but he comprehended the law of water. The law of water is the same as the law of frost, so Long Chen can feel familiar. A mutant beast that understands the law of frost is interesting. When Long Chen discovered this mutant leopard, he was also discovered by the other party. The mutant leopard screamed and rushed towards Long Chen at an astonishing speed. A distance of several hundred meters is not a big deal to a real strong person, and can be reached in an instant. The mutant leopard appeared in front of Long Chen in the blink of an eye. The dark blue eyes stared at Long Chen and looked at him, revealing a curious look. Suddenly, it spat out. It turned out to be a human. Interesting. I haven't seen a human in this chaotic land for many years. The mutant leopard licked his lips and looked at Long Chen greedily. I heard that human flesh is very delicious. I really want to taste it. Long Chen narrowed his eyes, not because the other party wanted to eat him, nor because the leopard could talk. In fact, it's normal for mutant beasts to vomit when they reach a certain level, and he has seen many of them. What really moved him was the reason because he noticed a word. The land of chaos. Is this the name of this place? Hey, humans, why don't you talk anymore? Are you scared stupid? Seeing that Long Chen didn't say a word, the mutant leopard roared at Long Chen. Long Chen looked at the mutant leopard and spoke. Tell me about this place of chaos, and I don't care about your rudeness to me. Hearing Long Chen's words, mutant leopard's face suddenly showed a personified astonishment. It could not have imagined that the human being in front of him would dare to say such a thing. Human, have you not seen the situation clearly? Now I want to eat you. Mutant leopard said. Long Chen's expression was indifferent. Stop talking nonsense. I have limited patience, and quickly answer my questions. The mutant leopard now confirms that the human being in front of him does not have a brain problem, but simply looks down on himself. It was furious at once. The humble human being uttered wild words. Today your grandpa leopard will eat you. The mutant leopard roared wildly and pounced directly at Long Chen. HMPH. Hit the stone with the pebbles. Long Chen snorted coldly. He can see the strength of this mutant leopard, the intermediate beast king. Located in the East continent or even the Western continent outside, an alien beast of this level is definitely a dominant overlord, with rare existence. But here unexpectedly met one casually, and Long Chen was indeed a little surprised at this. But he didn't have the mind to think about it at this time, he just wanted to know what exactly is this chaotic land. Chapter 284, Social Beating. The intermediate beast emperor is indeed very strong, but in front of Long Chen, he is vulnerable. Bang! Long Chen hit the mutant leopard with a punch, and this punch hit the mutant leopard directly, knocking it out. The mutant leopard flew out more than 10 meters, got up in embarrassment, and looked at Long Chen with a little shock. It really didn't expect this seemingly weak human being to have such great power. In his impression, although human intelligence and talent are good, their physical strength is weak. No comparison with the orcs. But Long Chen didn't use any magnificent skills, just relying on strength to blast it flying, completely changed its view. Damn human beings, dare to hit your handsome face, Master Leopard will tear you apart. The mutant leopard was not afraid of being blown by Long Chen, but was even more anxious. The dark blue eyes burst out with bright light. A terrifying cold breath radiated from it. Boom! The mutant leopard's blood basin opened its big mouth, and a beam of energy condensed by the law of frost rushed towards Long Chen. Ha! The mere elementary law of frost also match me to make a move. Long Chen sneered in disdain. If the quality of the law is also divided into ranks, time, space, yin and yang, and the law of life and death are naturally top-notch, followed by elements such as gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind and thunder. And like the law of frost, it can only be regarded as an accessory to the law of water. If the law of water is compared to a large subject, then the law of frost is just a detail under the large subject. Mastering the law of frost may not necessarily be able to control the law of water, but mastering the law of water will definitely be able to control the law of frost. Break it for me. The seed trident suddenly appeared in Long Chen's hand, the law of water exploded, and the energy beam formed by the law of frost was automatically solved in an instant. This. How come? The mutant leopard showed an incredible color of humanity, and the law of frost, which it was most proud of, was so vulnerable to this human being. Since you are toasting and not eating fine wine, then I will let you experience the severe beating of society. Long Chen snorted coldly, and his figure disappeared instantly. The next moment appeared above the mutant leopard. The Poseidon trident stabbed suddenly, and the mutant leopard didn't react at all, and was directly pierced by the Poseidon trident. However, Long Chen did not attack the mutant leopard's life gate, so this blow was not fatal. But it really hurts. The mutant leopard screamed violently. How about it? Do you still want to eat me? Long Chen asked with a sneer. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. The mutant leopard hurriedly roared. It has already recognized Long Chen's strength. Beating him is just like playing. There is no comparison at all. The purpose of the mutant leopard is to pretend to be forced, and to recognize counsel when it is necessary to recognize counsel. Then my previous question. I said all. You quickly take this trident. The mutant leopard all learned to answer quickly, and roared before Long Chen finished asking. Long Chen chuckled, afraid that he could not cure it. Long Chen was not afraid that the mutant leopard lied to him, and directly collected the Sea-God trident. The mutant leopard is also an intermediate beast king, with a strong physique. As long as it is not the kind of injury that can cause death, it can recover quickly. As soon as the Poseidon trident was pulled out, the blood hole recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Chapter 285, The Place Where the World Originated. Okay, answer my previous question. What did you ask before? The mutant leopard asked subconsciously, and then saw Long Chen's cold eyes, which made his body tremble suddenly. I remember, you are asking me about this place of chaos. The mutant leopard continued to speak after swallowing. Actually, I don't know much about Chaos Land, but I still know some basic things. What do you want to know? Tell everything you know. Long Chen didn't know which aspect he wanted to know, so he simply asked it to say it all. Hearing this statement, the mutant leopard was first taken aback, and then spent a few minutes organizing the language, and then slowly said, "This is the land of chaos, the source of the world, the place of origin." The mutant leopard talked for half an hour. Although many words have their heads and tails, Long Chen quickly connected all the words it said, and coupled with his own guesses, weaving a brand new story. Hundreds of millions of years ago, the entire world was still in chaos, and then the first life was born in the chaos, and that was Pangu. Pangu split this chaos with absolute power and created this world. But the chaotic land where Long Chen and the others are now is the place where Pangu was born, and it is also the only chaos left after Pangu opened up the world, and it is also the place where Pangu died. After Pangu opened up the world, his energy was exhausted, and before his fall, he returned to this chaos. Born from chaos and die from chaos. Therefore, this place of chaos is also called the source of the world. After understanding this, Long Chen couldn't help but speed up his heartbeat. I accidentally came to the place where Pangu was born. Isn't this crazy? By the way, you said that this is the place where the world originated and where Pangu was born and died. Pangu is the creator of the world and the first of the world. Is the heart of the world in this chaotic land? Long Chen asked unexpectedly. Aunt Long Ling and Long Chen talked a lot about the heart of the world, and the heart of the world was the heart of the first world Pangu. Isn't the heart of the world in this chaotic land? Do you still know the heart of the world? Mutant Leopard was a little surprised when he heard Long Chen's words, but he answered obediently. The heart of the world is indeed in the land of chaos, but as far as I know, it was taken away decades ago or hundreds of years ago. I heard that it is someone among your humans. There can only be one heart of the world, so you have no chance. Mutant Leopard seemed to see Long Chen's desire for the heart of the world, so he poured a pot of cold water on him without hesitation. However, Long Chen was mentally prepared, so he was not lost. If the Mutant Leopard said, the heart of the world should have been taken away by his father, that just when Long Chen wanted to continue to ask, the Mutant Leopard's body trembled fiercely. Looking stubbornly in one direction, his hair was exploded, and he seemed very nervous. Damn, this guy is really chasing him. He has been chasing for a few years, and he is chasing. The Mutant Leopard said bitterly, but then his eyes rolled, as if thinking of some crooked idea. Long Chen didn't notice this. His divine power dissipated, and he soon discovered that there was another figure close to him. It is a huge humanoid. Chapter 286, Chaos Demon. It is said to be a humanoid creature because its general structure is very similar to human beings, but it is very different from human beings. This human organism is huge, about 1 foot tall, which is more than 3 meters. There are almost 2 Long Chens as tall. The skin all over his body was dark gray, his muscles exploded, his appearance was crude, and his whole body exuded a savage atmosphere similar to a fierce beast. This humanoid is extremely fast, and as soon as Long Chen discovered him, He appeared in front of Long Chen the next moment. Roar, alien, die. The humanoid roared at the mutant leopard, and Long Chen could vaguely understand it. This shows that this humanoid also speaks human language. I've been chasing after a few years. This is also a different kind, and it's much better than me. Go and kill him. The mutant leopard said towards the humanoid creature, and then turned into an afterimage and swept away in the distance. Long Chen's brows suddenly wrinkled, because after mutant leopard finished saying that, he obviously felt that he was locked in by a breath. It was that kind of human beings. He was staring at Long Chen with murderous intent at this time. There is no aura of chaos. They are all aliens, and all aliens will die. The humanoid roared with that wild voice, and blasted towards Long Chen with a punch. Boom! Long Chen discovered with horror that a punch of this kind of human beings actually shook the space. The space in this chaotic land is very stable. Even Long Chen has to rely on the law of space to destroy it. And that kind of human beings can have an impact solely on physical strength, which shows how powerful its power is. Long Chen estimated that with a full blow, he could only achieve this level, and his current strength has surpassed the limit of a demigod, and can even be comparable to a level. Long Chen was incomparably horrified, but his reaction was not slow. He also slammed a punch, banging against the fist of the humanoid. Bang! A terrifying force struck. Long Chen suddenly felt his arms numb slightly, sending his body back uncontrollably a few steps. The humanoid also backed a few steps, even a few steps more than Long Chen. But Long Chen was still very shocked. Since entering the semi-god state, it was the first time he had met evenly matched power in a purely contested power. Let me go. Is this human being so strong? He can actually face the Chaos Demon Godhead. The mutant leopard hadn't ran far yet, and he was shocked to see Long Chen colliding with that kind of human beings evenly matched. Fortunately, Lord Leopard, I am witty. No matter how powerful you are as a human being, you dare to bully you Lord Leopard and I will not kill you. Mutant Leopard sneered and prepared to leave. But then its face changed, and it was shocked to find that it could not move. Beast, Den young master, you are looking for death. Long Chen's voice rang in its ears, and the mutant leopard found out in fear that Long Chen had appeared beside him. Big brother, misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Before mutant leopard's words of begging for mercy were finished, Long Chen shot out a dying thunder without hesitation. The thunder of nation directly penetrated the mutant leopard's forehead, and the latter died instantly. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the power attribute 50 watts is obtained. Ding. Pickup successfully, get defensive attribute 40 watts. Ding. Pickup successfully, get experience value 5000 watts. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the intermediate beast temporary energy essence 1. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the fragments of the Frost Law are obtained. Will they merge? Chapter 287, An Immortal Opponent. Long Chen would not let anyone who dared to yin himself. Anyway, the information that should be known is basically known, and the mutant leopard has no value. Fusion. Ding. The fusion is successful, and the Frost Law LV1 is obtained. The fragments of the Frost Law merged into Long Chen's body, and his understanding of the Frost Law instantly understood. Kill. The Chaos Demon God saw that Long Chen, an alien, even dared to be distracted and deal with others when he was fighting, and he was immediately angry. The body turned into an afterimage, and it flashed behind Long Chen in an instant, and a fist larger than a sandbag slammed. Fast speed. Long Chen was slightly startled, directly urging the law of time. Time goes back. The Chaos Demon God was affected by the law of time, and the fist blasted forward was recovered. At the same time, Long Chen didn't waste any time. He directly sacrificed the Sigurd Trident, slashing at the Chaos Demon God with his hand. This Zan Long Chen did not retain, and a 10% power broke out. Because he felt threatened when dealing with the Chaos Demon God, he didn't plan to keep his hands. Click. The Sigurd Trident slashed through, and a crack was drawn in the stable space. When this halberd was cut, Long Chen could feel a clear sense of rejection, and this chaotic land seemed to be repelling himself. However, the Sigurd's Trident remained undiminished in power, slashing directly from the Chaos Demon God's forehead. With a chuckle, the Chaos Demon God was directly split into two. However, Long Chen didn't show any excitement. On the contrary, his eyebrows became tighter, because he found that the chaotic demon god's body was broken, and there was no blood spilling. Only some grey-black gases emitted. Moreover, from the fracture, Long Chen couldn't see any structure that belonged to human beings. No, it should be said that it is a biological structure. There are no blood vessels, no muscles, not even the internal organs. It's like a person pinched out of plasticine. Following Long Chen drew out the Sigurd's Trident, but for a moment, the divided body of the Chaos Demon God closed again strangely, except that the breath is a bit weaker than before. There is no impact at all. Is it immortal? Long Chen's eyes widened. Even if his immortal body was cut in half like this, it would take some time to recover. This Chaos Demon God is like a plasticine, which can be restored easily. I don't believe it. It's impossible to be immortal. Long Chen couldn't believe it and cut it off again. The Chaos Demon God had no plan to dodge, letting Long Chen slash towards him with his halberd. With a snort, Long Chen directly cut off the neck of the Chaos Demon God this time. Even just in case, he planned to kick its head flying. But perhaps it was too strong. This kick directly kicked the head of the Chaos Demon God, turning into a grey gas and dissipating in the void. Damn it now! Long Chen let out a long sigh of relief, but in the next second he noticed the danger coming. The Chaos Demon God who had lost his head moved and blasted towards Long Chen with a punch. My Nima! Long Chen couldn't help but burst out a swear word, and hurriedly fisted. But because it was too hasty, this punch didn't use all his strength. Long Chen was beaten back by the Chaos Demon God a dozen steps. When he raised his head again to look at the Chaos Demon God, his eyes became round. I saw that half of his head was condensed above his empty neck, and the other half is still recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Chapter 288, Helshin Tower Suppression. Long Chen stared at it, and in the void was a cloud of grey gas condensing on the neck of the Chaos Demon God, turned into its head. Before the Chaos Demon God was beheaded by Long Chen, this grey gas was also emitted. It is also this grey gas now that the head is restored. What exactly is this grey gas? Long Chen couldn't feel the familiar breath, indicating that he had never touched this grey gas. Try the law of death again. Long Chen didn't believe in evil anymore, and while the Chaos Demon God was recovering, a laser of extinguishment shot out, directly hit the head of the Chaos Demon God that is not yet fully formed. The head that had just condensed in half was broken again. However, Long Chen's plan failed. Although the of Death Thunder that merged the Law of Death and the Law of Thunder exploded the head of the Chaotic Demon God, it still couldn't stop the rhythm of its recovery. Roar! Chaos Demon God's head recovered more than half, and he let out an angry roar. Before the head recovery was completed, he slammed a punch towards Long Chen. Humphrey! Long Chen snorted coldly. Although this Chaos Demon God was disgusting in terms of immortality, it didn't mean that Long Chen would be afraid. In terms of strength, Long Chen is still better than him. Annihilation. The Sea God's trident burst out with terrifying energy rays and bombed the Chaos Demon God's fist. The latter's right arm was directly exploded, but it quickly recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. No, he will kill him sooner or later if this continues. Long Chen frowned, and even the Law of Death could not prevent the Chaos Demon God from recovering, indicating that his recovery did not rely on vitality. It should be the grey energy, but he hasn't understood what the grey energy is, so he's not sure what to do. Suppress him first, and then study it carefully. This recovery speed is more abnormal than my life floor, and it may be of great help to my strength. Long Chen thought in his heart. As for what suppression is used, of course it is the Helshin Tower. Speaking of it, it seems that he has only used the Helshin Tower to suppress the generals. Although the Chaos Demon God was a bit stronger than the general did not resist at all when facing the Helshin Tower, so Long Chen guessed that the Helshin Tower could also suppress the Chaos Demon. Thinking of this, Long Chen didn't hesitate and directly sacrificed the Helshin Tower. Exclamation mark. However, something unexpected happened to Long Chen. As soon as the Helshin Tower appeared, it was not controlled by Long Chen and flew towards the Chaos Demon God. How is this going? Long Chen was stunned and couldn't figure out what happened. But soon he saw a scene that shocked him even more. The Chaos Demon God was condensing his arms and head. Just after condensing more than half, the Helshin Tower flew above him. A terrifying suction came, and the grey aura surrounding the Chaos Demon God was strongly absorbed by the Helshin Tower. The Helshin Tower had already recognized Long Chen as its lord, so Long Chen could feel the Helshin Tower's aura became more solemn after absorbing the grey energy. Master, have you got the aura of chaos? At this moment, a dog shadow suddenly appeared on Long Chen's shoulder. It was the tower spirit of Helshin Tower, and Long Chen gave him the name Huawei before. Chaos? Are you talking about the grey energy? Long Chen asked in a daze. Tao Ling looked at the grey energy around the Chaos Demon God and nodded. Yes. That's the Chi of Chaos. That guy is the Demon God of Chaos. Did you come to the land of chaos, Master? Chapter 289, How to Repair the Helshin Tower. Tao Ling looked around in surprise. You know the land of chaos? Long Chen was a little surprised. I know, it's just that some of the remaining memories in my mind are about the land of chaos and the air of chaos. Master, the chaotic air has a repairing effect on the Helsing Tower. Don't you feel that after the Helsing Tower has absorbed that chaotic air just now, the aura has become much more concentrated than before? Tao Ling said very excitedly. Hearing what Tao Ling said, Long Chen reacted. I did feel that Helsing Tower's aura had changed a bit before, but I didn't know what the change was. Now that I know it, it has been repaired. Tao Ling had told Long Chen before that Helsing Tower had suffered considerable damage in ancient times. Therefore, the defect that only one person can be suppressed at a time is left. Before Long Chen asked how to repair Helsing Tower, but Tao Ling did not give an answer. Unexpectedly, this time the crooked hit was finding a way. Master, this Chaos Demon God is actually formed by the condensing of Chaos Chi, so it is immortal, because the Chaos Demon God is not a creature at all, but a group of conscious Chaos Chi. Tao Ling explained to Long Chen. Long Chen suddenly realized that all the doubts were solved. In other words, this Chaos Demon God can provide nourishment for the Helsing Tower. Yes, Master. Do it quickly, Tao Ling said impatiently. Long Chen didn't waste any more time. In fact, Long Chen was not much calmer than Tao Ling after he got the news. You know, the Helsing Towers in a broken state are so powerful that they can suppress the strong below the demigod. If it is repaired and restored to its peak state, wouldn't it be possible to suppress even a demigod or even a real-world god? Thinking of this, Long Chen flashed directly to the front of the Chaos Demon God, and the Seagate Trident stabbed away angrily. The Chaos Demon God hurriedly threw another fist and bumped it with the Seagate Trident. As a terrifying explosion sounded, the arm of the Chaos Demon God was directly cracked and turned into a rich grey atmosphere. Originally, this chaotic energy would condense into the arm of the Chaos Demon God, but at this time the Helsing Tower was above him, absorbing the chaotic energy that the Chaos Demon God spilled. So the chaotic energy was completely absorbed by the Helsing Tower, and the chaotic demon was not given a chance to reconsolidate. Sure enough, Long Chen was overjoyed. Helsing Pagoda forcibly absorbed the chaotic aura from the Chaos Demon God, which could repair itself and help Long Chen kill the opponent. The real difficulty of the Chaos Demon God is its immortality. Now that Helsing Tower is in hand, the Chaos Demon God's advantage is completely gone. Long Chen was not afraid at all. I won't play with you. Go to hell. Long Chen sneered and retracted the Seagate Trident, releasing the law of life with his left hand and the law of death with his right hand. The two are combined into one, turning into a huge Tai Chi yin and yang picture. Life and death seal, town. Long Chen yelled violently, and the imprint of life and death slammed on the body of the Chaos Demon God. Immediately there was a terrifying explosion, and the entire body of the Chaos Demon God who was bombed turned into Chaos Chi, which was then greedily absorbed by the Helsing Tower. How is it? How much has the Helsing Tower repaired? Long Chen hurriedly summoned Taling Huawu and asked. Although he was connected to the soul of the Helsing Tower, he could not feel the specific state of the Helsing Tower. This is actually quite normal. If Helsing Tower is compared to a shop, Long Chen is equivalent to the shopkeeper of a shop, and Taling Huawu is the shop's agent manager. Long Chen has the absolute right to use and control the store, but his understanding of the specific situation of the store is not as good as Taling, the agent store manager. Chapter 290, The Temple in the Land of Chaos. If you return to the Master, it has been restored to about 65%. Before the restoration, it was 59%. Taling Huawu replied. It was 59% before the restoration, but now it is 65%, which means that the Chaos Demon God just brought 6% of the supply to the Helsing Tower. It's only 65%. Isn't that too little? Long Chen shook his head somewhat dissatisfied, and Taling Huawu gave him a blank glance. Master, you are a good betrayer. Do you know that if you use other resources to repair the Helsing Tower, then adding up all the resources for an ordinary person to the Emperor level, you will be able to repair the Helsing Tower at most too? Taling Huawu explained that Long Chen understood what 6% meant. Hey, when you say this, it seems that you are really lucky. There is still 35% left. That is to say, I can find almost 6 Chaos Demon Gods to repair the Helsing Tower successfully. Long Chen thought, it shouldn't be difficult to find the Chaos Demon God in a chaotic place. Doesn't it mean that his Helsing Tower can be restored to its peak state immediately? Thinking of this, Long Chen was very excited. But Taling Huawu immediately poured a pot of cold water on Long Chen, extinguishing the fireworks in his heart. Master, that's not the calculation. The more Chaos Chi is needed for the later stage of the Helsing Tower repair progress. If another Chaos Demon God with the same strength is used, he can only provide 4% of the Helsing Tower progress. Long Chen was immediately speechless, and most of his passion disappeared instantly. But he quickly comforted himself, at least found a way to fix it. didn't he? It seems that this place of chaos is still a holy place for me to practice. Killing alien beasts can provide me with lore fragments and attribute points, and killing the Chaos Demon can repair the Hushan Tower. Long Chen thought in his heart that he originally wanted to spend experience points to increase the level of the law of space, and then break the space back. Now that he got such an unexpected joy, Long Chen's decision has changed. Let's break into this chaotic land first. Long Chen thought in his heart and walked towards the depths of the chaotic land. Somewhere deep in the land of chaos stood a magnificent palace. At this time, in the palace, there were many Chaos Demon gods gathered, which looked similar to the Chaos Demon god that Long Chen had just killed. He was huge and had dark skin. It's dead. In the palace, a loud voice sounded. As soon as this voice sounded, the Chaos Demon gods in the palace exploded with a terrifying aura at the same time. The Chaos Demon god is immortal. How can he die? HMPH. It must be those alien beasts. Have they found a way to kill our Chaos Demon god? If this is the case, then we must quickly slay those alien beasts to extinction. Otherwise our Chaos Demon God clan will suffer a great disaster. These Chaos Demon gods were talking in a few words. The previous voice finally reappeared after hesitating for a while. Okay, then act. When the voice fell, all the Chaos Demon gods in the main hall rushed out of the palace and ran towards one place. At this time, somewhere in the land of chaos, a huge piece of land was suspended. Chapter 291, An Unprecedented War. There are many mutant beasts living on the land, and each of them has a very powerful aura. The mutant leopard that Long Chen met before can be seen everywhere here. The weakest are the junior beast kings. The most powerful auras can even reach the level of a demigod. If this force is taken to the outside world, it is estimated that it can easily level the two continents. Originally, these alien beasts were hibernating on the mainland quietly, but as a shock rang, all the strange beasts were awakened. Countless eyes looked in one direction at the same time, and their eyes were full of tension. In that direction, a huge figure was rushing towards the mainland. What are these Chaos Demon gods? They are coming out, and they are still running towards us. What do they want? A voice came from the most powerful auras. It was a big flame bird with 3 heads. The 3-headed flamingo, half-step beast god, is equivalent to the half-god state among human evolvers. Although our strange beasts are outsiders, we have survived in the land of chaos for tens of thousands of years. Although we have had a bad relationship with the Chaos Demon gods over the years, we have lived in peace for a long time. Why did they suddenly change their minds? Question mark. Another half-step beast god level strange beast also spoke. This is a great ape, holding a thick dark iron rod. HMPH, don't hesitate. If you want to fight, then fight. Do you still fear that they will not succeed? Although the Chaos Demon God is immortal, but we are not made of mud, it is impossible to let them need. A demigod Thunder Lion muttered. Just like the law of thunder that it naturally understands, its temper is very hot. As soon as the Thunder Lion's voice fell, he jumped up directly, bearing the brunt of it, releasing a terrifying force of thunder law in the direction of the Chaos Demon God. Immediately afterwards, countless strange beasts on the mainland broke out with the power of terrifying laws. Although the Chaos Demon God is immortal, they are not without advantages. There are more monsters, and they understand the power of the law. The Chaos Demon God has no other means of attack except for the horror of physical power and the immortality. But to be honest, relying on this immortality, the Chaos Demon God would be much better than these strange beasts. At least they don't have to worry about death. In an instant, a huge army of alien beasts was formed, fighting against the chaotic demon gods that came to form a group. The aftermath of the battle affected thousands of miles, and Long Chen, who was on his way, also noticed it. What a serious fighting atmosphere. It's like hundreds of powerful men above the Emperor level are fighting. Long Chen couldn't help exclaiming in his heart. Surprised, he also rushed towards the direction of the aftermath of the battle. Although it might be dangerous, he still couldn't stop his inner curiosity. Coupled with the courage of Yi Gao, he didn't think too much, so he walked over. When the divine power was within the coverage, the tragic battlefield turned into a purgatory scene and appeared in Long Jin's mind, which directly shocked him. Damn, is this really a war? Long Chen said in shock. Under the coverage of his divine power, one of the two sides of the war is a mutant beast, and the other is the Chaos Demon God. And at this time on the battlefield, in addition to the alien beasts and the Chaos Demon in the battle, there are dozens of extinct alien beasts suspended in midair. Chapter 292, Encountering Emperor Xinya. Beside the corpses of these strange beasts, dozens of small light clusters fell, all of which were attribute points, experience points, and rule fragments. Long Chen was not polite and directly urged his divine power to transfer these small light groups, and then picked them up. Transform everything to yourself. Cool, my physical fitness has improved a bit. Long Chen groaned. Very refreshing. The air was still filled with the chaotic air of those chaotic demon gods being broken up, but it was rapidly condensing. Looking at such a huge chaos chi, Long Chen couldn't help swallowing. He almost couldn't help throwing the Hoshin Tower to absorb the chaotic energy now. However, Long Chen still held back it. If he releases the Hoshin Tower now, it is estimated that he will soon become a target of public criticism. At that time, he was beaten by hundreds of chaos demon gods. Even he couldn't hold it. Seeing that chaotic air quickly condense, Long Chen's heart was dripping blood. At this moment, Long Chen's shoulder was suddenly patted, and he was so scared that he turned around quickly. Subconsciously punched in the past. Little friend Long Chen, wait a minute, it's me. A slightly familiar voice sounded, but the offensive was already out and could not be recovered. Long Chen's fist hit the man's abdomen directly, and the latter was smashed out of the distance for dozens of meters. Long Chen stared at him. Only then could he see the person's appearance clearly, and he couldn't help being a little surprised. Emperor Xinyao? Yes, that person was the great Emperor Xinyao who had met Long Chen. Before Long Chen had heard from the new commander of the Xinyao Legion when he was on the border battlefield that the whereabouts of Emperor Xinyao was secretive, coming and going without a trace. Even he didn't know where he was. I didn't expect to meet him in this chaotic land now. Ilgo, your boy's strength has increased a lot. The great Emperor Xinyao grumbled while clutching his stomach, but at the same time he couldn't help feeling shocked again. When he played against Long Chen before, although he lost, he could feel that Long Chen was not much better than him. But the punch just now really hurt him, you know. It is very difficult to make him such a demigod powerhouse pain. Long Chen can do it with one punch, which is several times stronger than when he fought last time. He was not shocked by Long Chen's rapid growth. After all, he had also heard of how short Long Chen's cultivation time was. But he was shocked that it would be difficult for him to increase his strength level up to the demigod realm. It would not be surprising if it was an increase in the laws of heaven and earth. Emperor Xinyao, however, the strength of the pure body has become stronger, and Emperor Xinyao can't figure it out. There is a limit to the ability of the body of a strong demigod, so the difference in physical fitness is generally not too great. Of course, the human evolving person is mentioned here. Alien beasts and chaos demon gods are another matter. After all, their bodies are different. After the human evolutionary reached the half-god state, his physical fitness limit was almost the same. But Long Chen was definitely an exception. Emperor Xinyao felt that this guy's physical fitness was much stronger than that of alien beasts and chaos demon god of the same level. Even the physical fitness alone can be comparable to gods. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous, it's too late to stop. Seeing Emperor Xinyao's painful expression, Long Chen smiled awkwardly. It's okay if he doesn't explain this. As soon as he explains that Emperor Xinyao's expression gets worse. I believe you a ghost. You bad old man is very bad. Anyway, he is also a strong demigod. If you say it is too late to stop, who will believe it? Chapter 293, Bold Ideas. Okay, let's talk about business. Why did you come here? I just saw you from a distance and almost thought I was dazzled. Emperor Xinyao didn't want to talk about that with Long Chen, so he went straight to the subject and asked, how else can I come in? I accidentally came in. Long Chen waved his hand and said, directly telling him all about the direct attack on the Dark Council with the major legions. After listening to Long Chen's explanation, Emperor Xinyao couldn't help his mouth twitching directly. The Dark Council has been hostile to our human camp for hundreds of years. I didn't expect to be destroyed by you day and night. The great Emperor Xinyao thought for a long time but couldn't think of any words to describe it, but in the end he could only condense into 3 words. You are awesome. Hey, Loke, all work for the peace of mankind. Long Chen said shamelessly. But if the president of the Dark Council is not dead, it will be a little troublesome. The Dark Council was originally created and developed by him alone. If he does not die, the Dark Council may come back at any time. Emperor Xinyao frowned. Then it doesn't matter to me. If you can find me, he will naturally kill him, but there is nothing you can do if you don't meet me. At least it would be good for humans to win decades of stability. Long Chen said. Emperor Xinyao nodded in agreement this time. Long Chen's move is undoubtedly a gospel to all mankind. Stop talking about this, I want to ask, why are you here? This time it was Long Chen's turn to ask questions. I have been here for more than 10 years, Emperor Xinyao explained. 10 years ago, the undefeated dragon and I came to the land of chaos at the same time and discovered the heart of the world at the same time, but unfortunately in the end I made a difference and the heart of the world was robbed by the undefeated dragon god. So he became god of the world, and I am still just a demigod. Later, the undefeated dragon disappeared, and I came to this chaotic land from time to time, because once the world of one world dies, then the heart of the world will return to the original place. I have been waiting here, looking forward to get that heart of the world. Emperor Xinyao knew that Long Chen belonged to the Dragon Temple, but he did not hide his true thoughts because of this. Long Chen did not hate Emperor Xinyao for this, because of his human nature. If the world was not his father, he would definitely have this idea. To become of the world, is there really only one way to gain the heart of the world? Long Chen asked unwillingly. Emperor Xinyao has stayed in the demigod for so long, and is the oldest powerhouse. Maybe he has any special thoughts. Long Chen's guess was correct. After hearing Long Chen's words, Emperor Xinyao narrowed his eyes. After pondering for a moment, Emperor Xinyao said with a serious face, to become of the world, the heart of the world is indeed the most effective way, but it is by no means the only way. Hearing the words of Emperor Xinyao, Long Chen's ears straightened up. As long as there are other methods, Long Chen can work hard for it. The great Emperor Xinyao didn't sell Guanzi, and directly told Long Chen his thoughts. I have studied for decades and thought of a hypothesis. Where does the heart of the world come from? It comes from the first generation of God of creation. The heart of the world is equivalent to the key to the first generation of creation gods to control the world. If there is no such key, then can you learn from the first generation of creation gods and directly create a world? Chapter 294, I want to create the world. Hearing the bold thought of Emperor Xinyao, Long Chen couldn't help taking a breath. The idea of creating a world by yourself is crazy, right? However, it seems feasible. Long Chen also had a bold idea that Pang Wu could open up the world and create this world, so why couldn't he? The great god Pang Wu can do it without the predecessors. It should be easy to do it with the president of the great god Pang Wu. But this has always been just a hypothesis that I have hidden in my heart, but it has never been able to act. Emperor Xinyao gave a wry smile. Why? Long Chen asked subconsciously. Because I have no clue other than this bold idea. How to create the world. Where do I create it from? The original Pang Wu god used absolute power to directly split the chaos and create the world. But I couldn't do this at all. Emperor Xinyao shook his head, but Long Chen was lost in thought at this time. Naturally, he would not directly split the chaos like the Pang Wu great god did, and now there is no chaos for him. But he can create a world on his own. He has the law of space, so don't worry about space problems. He also has the law of time, and he has comprehended the law of life and the law of death. Isn't the so-called world created by the convergence of countless laws of heaven and earth, such as space, time, life and death, yin and yang, and the five elements? If I can't open up the world, can I create the world directly? Long Chen's eyes slowly exploded with spirits. An increasingly rigorous thought formed in his mind. Is it possible that as long as he can obtain all the laws and then integrate all the laws, he can create a world? What are you thinking? Seeing Long Chen's expression of excitement, Emperor Xinyao asked doubtfully. Long Chen didn't conceal it either, and directly stated his thoughts. When others treat him well, he will treat others well. And Emperor Xinyao told Long Chen what he knew and guessed. Naturally, Long Chen would not conceal his guess. Moreover, it seems that only oneself can realize this idea, understand all the laws, and then create a world out of thin air. Emperor Xinyao murmured. It seemed that the problems surrounding him for many years had been solved. Your conjecture is correct, but it is difficult to realize. It is difficult to understand a law, let alone all the rules. Do you know how many laws exist in a world? There are 3,000 avenues. To maintain the operation of a world, you need countless laws. Emperor Xinyao said solemnly. Long Chen didn't say more. This kind of thing may be difficult for others, and it is almost impossible to realize it. But Long Chen is still possible. After all, he is a man with a system. Picking up fragments of the law through the system can slowly comprehend it much faster than ordinary people. Just now he picked up no less than 10 rules from the dead animals' corpses. In this chaotic land, it seems that every alien beast has comprehended at least one law. Long Chen is even guessing that these alien beasts are shaped by the laws of heaven and earth in this world. After all, the chi of chaos can be formed into a chaos demon god, and the power of the law can be formed into an alien beast. It is not impossible. Therefore, Long Chen felt that he could start with these strange beasts. Chapter 295, Temple Ding. The pickup is successful, and the power attribute 500 watts is obtained. Ding. Pick up successfully, get defensive attribute 400 watts. Ding. Pick up successfully, get experience value 50,000 watts. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the intermediate beast Emperor Energy Essence 5. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the high-level beast Emperor Energy Essence 2 is obtained. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the fragments of the law of plants and trees are obtained. Will they merge? Ding. The pickup is successful, and the fragment of the law of gold is obtained. Will it be fused? While they were talking, a few more rule monsters were killed by the Chaos Demon God, and the attribute points, experience points and rule fragments dropped were naturally picked up by Long Chen unceremoniously. It's just a pity that those semi-god level law alien beasts are too strong, and those chaotic demon gods can't kill them at all. Otherwise, the attribute points and experience points dropped by the half-step beast god level death must be huge. Moreover, the laws possessed by the half-step beast gods were not obtained by Long Chen, such as the law of imperial wind, the law of Ziyang and so on. If you continue to fight like this, the rule of the alien beast will be defeated. The Chaos Demon God is immortal and invincible. Although the semi-god level alien beasts are very strong, once the other alien beasts die, I definitely can't fight dozens of Chaos Demon Gods. Long Chen said, and the great Emperor Xin Yao nodded. Yes, the Chaos Demon God was born in Chaos. This Chaos Land itself is their territory. These ruled animals are called alien races by the Chaos Demon God. They are not allowed to enter the Chaos Land. Therefore, every time the two meet, there will be a battle. However, as thousands of years have passed, the Chaos Demon God has not been able to completely wipe out the law and foreign beasts. Perhaps it is tired. As long as these law and foreign beasts don't make any big movements, the Chaos Demon God will never have a big war with them. But this time it's a bit strange. So many Chaos Demon Gods were dispatched all at once. Basically, they came out all at once. What exactly did these rule monsters do to make the Chaos Demon God angry? Emperor Xing Yao said strangely. Long Chen didn't know either. In fact, the reason why the Chaos Demon God launched the main attack on the law monster this time was because Long Chen killed the Chaos Demon God before. The Chaos Demon thought that the law and the beast had found a way to deal with them, so he wanted to kill them as soon as possible. Hey, by the way, if the Chaos Demon God is coming out of the nest, can we sneak into the temple by fishing in troubled waters? Emperor Xing Yao suddenly remembered something and said excitedly. The temple? What is the temple? Long Chen asked doubtfully. The temple is the base camp of these Chaos Demon Gods. Let me tell you, there are good things in the temple. The undefeated dragon god won the heart of the world from the temple. If he dies, the heart of the world is very great. Maybe back there. Even if the heart of the world doesn't go back, there will definitely be other good things in it. Maybe there are some treasures that can help us. The great Emperor Xing Yao said excitedly. He has been guarding here, just waiting for this opportunity. He failed to enter the temple decades ago, so he lost the opportunity to gain the heart of the world. This time he must not miss it. Hearing the words of Emperor Xing Yao, Long Chen was also excited. Intuition told him that there must be treasures that would help him in that temple. Chapter 296. Giant Humanoid Statue. Do you know the location of the temple? Long Chen asked, and Emperor Xing Yao gave him a blank look. You are not bullshit. I have been here for more than 10 years at any rate. I don't want to enter the temple all the time. How can I not know its location? Then hurry up, or you will be in trouble when they finish the fight. Having said that, the two ran away in one direction. Long Chen was much faster than Emperor Xing Yao, but he didn't recognize the way, so he could only slow down. This made Emperor Xing Yao very uncomfortable. In front of Long Chen, he was like an old man with limited mobility. A few minutes later, the two arrived at the destination. Not far in front, a magnificent palace appeared in front of Long Chen. Let's go. After Long Chen and Emperor Xing Yao looked at each other, they walked in together. Long Chen maximized his divine power, and there was no Chaos Demon God in the area covered. The two of them walked all the way to the depths of the temple. The temple is really too big, but fortunately the internal structure is not complicated, and there is no need to turn around. After cautiously advancing 100 meters without a person, Long Chen finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that these Chaos Demon Gods really came out in full force. The number of Chaos Demon Gods is not large. If dozens of them are dispatched at once, they must have come out in full force. Emperor Xing Yao said. In fact, this is also normal. The Chaos Demon Gods are so strong. If there are a lot of them, wouldn't it be too bad? God is fair. When you open a door, you will also close a window. As he continued to deepen, Long Chen did not find any valuable treasures, and the whole temple was empty, even without tables, chairs and benches. But think about it, what bench they can sit on. These Chaos Demon Gods don't need to cultivate at all. They are formed by the condensing of Chaos Chi, and they're born with at least the Emperor level strength, so it is normal to find ordinary treasures. But there should be other good things. Let's take a closer look. Look. Emperor Xing Yao was also a little nervous. This sentence was not only for Long Chen, but also self-comforting. If you risk such a big risk to come in and get nothing, you will lose a lot. Okay. Long Chen nodded, not in a hurry. As long as he didn't search all the temples, he would not give up. Soon, the two came to the end of the temple. Finally, they found something different. It was a huge humanoid statue, almost 10 meters high, and it looked like a man with an axe in his hand. The whole hall is extremely empty, there is nothing, but there is such a statue at the end. There must be a problem. Long Chen said. Emperor Xinyao nodded. This is what he was about to say. Look there, it's empty. Emperor Xinyao suddenly pointed to the left chest of the statue, where there was a hollow. According to normal circumstances, this should be the heart, right? Long Chen murmured, as if thinking of something. He glanced at the great Emperor Xinyao. All saw a sharp glow in the opponent's eyes. Heart of the world. The two said in unison. Yes, if nothing happens, that part should be the heart of the world. But it is empty now. It should have been acquired by the undefeated dragon god decades ago. In that case, isn't this statue the first generation of creation? Pang-u. Chapter 297. Xinyao the Great Broken Arm. There are not many records about the Great Pang-u, but if not surprising, this statue should be the Great Pang-u. No, it should be carved for him by those chaotic demon gods in memory of Pang-u. The body of the real Pang-u god was fused with the heaven and earth as early as the fall. It can be said that every breath of air we breathe and everything we see is part of the Pang-u god. Emperor Xinyao said. The chaos demon god was born to guard the heart of the world left by the great god Pang-u, so they dislike outsiders so much. The heart of the world has been taken away. So is there any treasure? Long Chen asked. Emperor Xinyao stared closely at the statue of the great god Pang-u, and finally focused on the axe held in the hand of the statue. Have you ever noticed that the statue of the great god Pang-u is so big, but the axe is so out of place? Emperor Xinyao asked. Long Chen looked at it and felt something was wrong. The axe is also quite big, and if Long Chen holds it, he also needs two hands to hold it. But if you compare it with the statue of Pang-u, it looks too small, just like a normal adult holding a chopstick in his hand. This axe does not match the statue. If the statue was cast by those chaos demon gods later, then this axe is likely to have existed for a long time, and it is even possible that it belongs to the Pang-u god. Long Chen exclaimed, can Panga's things be vulgar? Even if it is not as defying as the heart of the world, it will definitely exceed their imagination. Before Long Chen could speak again, Emperor Xinyao couldn't wait to jump up and grab the axe held by the great god Pang-u with one hand. Do not. Long Chen stopped drinking suddenly. He suddenly remembered that if this axe is really important, then since those chaos demon gods dared to come out without leaving a guard, it must be guaranteed. It's a pity that Long Chen's drinking is still a step too late, and Emperor Xinyao's hand has already touched the axe. Laugh. As soon as Emperor Xinyao's hand touched the axe, he snorted. A devastating force entangled in the hands of Emperor Xinyao, quickly corroding. Emperor Xinyao's right arm began to collapse quickly. What? Emperor Xinyao couldn't help screaming. Long Chen urged the law of space when he realized it was wrong, and teleported to the side of Emperor Xinyao. This scene also frightened Long Chen, but he still reacted quickly and did not hesitate to take out the secret trident and chop it on the right arm of Xinyao Great Emperor. With a puff, Emperor Xinyao's arm was directly broken, and Long Chen hurriedly took Emperor Xinyao away. And the truncated arm quickly turned to ashes under the corrosion of the destructive energy. Emperor Xinyao looked at the broken arm with a painful expression. Not only because of the pain of a broken arm, but also because of the future. For a strong man, the loss of a broken arm is still great, and his strength will be reduced by at least 30%. But not everyone has an immortal body like Long Chen. Even if his arm is broken, he can be reborn. For those who have not understood the law of life, a broken arm is a broken arm. If the amputated arm is still it may be able to be retrieved by a special method. But unfortunately, the truncated arm has been destroyed. Just a little bit of the power of destruction was attached to the wound of Emperor Xinyao. If it is not treated, it will be like a spark of fire that can start a prairie fire. So Long Chen hurriedly injected a life force into him. The huge life force quickly eliminated this little destructive force, and then began to repair the wounds for Emperor Xinyao. Chapter 298. The destructive power of terror. My arm. Is it reborn? The great Emperor Xinyao had a painful expression at first, but then he found that the broken arm was itchy. Looking closely, it actually started to slowly grow fleshy tissues. Although the speed is not fast, Emperor Xinyao is sure that he has no dizziness. The great Emperor Xinyao looked at Long Chen in surprise. Of course he knew that such a miraculous scene was done by Long Chen. Long Chen did not speak, but concentrated on inputting life force to Emperor Xin Yao. Long Chen's law of life is currently only level 2, and it is not difficult to heal the wounds of Emperor Xin Yao, but if he wants to regenerate from the broken branch, it is still difficult to do. As a result, Long Chen directly consumed a huge amount of experience of 500 million, and raised his law of life to the 10th level, a state of consummation. Now Long Chen's experience points are too many to count. 500 million is not a matter at all. The law of life in the consummation realm, let alone rebirth from a severed limb, even if it is already dead, as long as the soul's origin has not collapsed, it can even be brought back to life, leaving the dead to life. Of course, if the origin of the soul is broken up, then Long Chen really can't help it. Even if his own immortal body hurts his soul, it will be very troublesome. Under the treatment of the life law of the consummation realm, within a short while, Emperor Xingyao's arm returned, and his skin was fairer and smoother than before. It's like the arm of a newborn. Of course, the size is normal. Brother Long Chen, thank you very much. The great Emperor Xinyao folded his hands to Long Chen and thanked him very sincerely. If it weren't for Long Chen, it would be impossible to recover his arm by his own means. No, even if there was no Long Chen, he would have died just now under the corrosion of the destruction aura. You don't have to be polite, we are all humans. Help each other. Long Chen said very grandly, where they are all human races, they can fight each other. But in a remote place, it is better to help each other and support each other. Oh, I'm still too careless. Emperor Xinyao sighed and shook his head. He has lived for hundreds of years, but his mind is not as good as Long Chen, a kid who has just been in his teens. That axe is not ordinary at first glance. How could it be so easily obtained by him? It's not that you were not cautious, maybe you were too excited. After all, you have been waiting for today for decades. Long Chen comforted, and then watched the axe intently. In other words, the aura of destruction surrounding the axe. The aura of this destructive power has a certain similarity to my law of death, but it is not the same. The energy of this destructive power is even more violent. Long Chen thought in his heart, the law of death is to devour life, cut off the enemy's vitality, and slowly die of old age. But the power of destruction is much simpler and violent, directly destroying you. This violent energy is too strong. It seems that it will be difficult to get the axe, and it is very possible that my behavior just now has been known to those chaos demon gods. We don't have much time. Emperor Xinyao frowned. He now didn't even have the courage to try. What happened just now caused him a deep psychological shadow. I will try. A light flashed in Long Chen's eyes, holding the sea god's trident and jumping up. The sea god's trident burst out with bright sea blue light, and pierced fiercely at the big axe. Boom! Exclamation mark. The moment the sea god trident touched the big axe, the destructive energy surrounding the big axe also exploded. A violent force shook Long Chen's entire arm directly into trouble. Chapter 299, Division of Artifacts Hum! Exclamation mark. The destructive energy was attached to the sea god's trident, which trembled violently and screamed. Several small holes were even broken in the blade. How could this be? Long Chen was startled. The sea god's trident, as the exclusive weapon of the sea god, was enough to be called a divine weapon. Long Chen has used it for so long without any disadvantages, which has increased his strength several times. But I didn't expect it to hit a wall this time, and it was damaged. Long Chen hurriedly activated the law of life to get rid of the destructive energy attached to the sea god's trident, but it was unable to repair the damage suffered by the sea god trident, which made Long Chen feel distressed. I don't believe it. Come again. With such a violent temper, Long Chen directly took out the Hushan Tower and wanted to suppress and subdue this big axe. But just as Long Chen was preparing to act, Tao Linghua suddenly appeared and hurriedly blocked her. Master, absolutely must not. This is the ancient artifact Pang'u Axe, the exclusive weapon of the creation Pang'u Great God. With the strength of the Hushan Tower, it cannot be shaken fundamentally, and it will only suffer more damage. Hearing Tao Linghua's words, Long Chen quickly dismissed the idea. After finally repairing the Hushan Tower to 65%, if it is damaged again, Long Chen will feel more distressed. What is the ancient artifact? Is the exclusive weapon owned by the god-level powerhouse the ancient artifact? Long Chen asked. He didn't know much about this. Emperor Xinyao was shocked by the sudden appearance of Tao Linghua, and after hearing the conversation between the two, he was even more shocked. Of course he knew the artifact, but he couldn't think that Long Chen could actually possess the artifact. He has been mixing for hundreds of years, and hasn't gotten it yet. No, he hasn't even seen a real artifact. It can also be understood this way. In addition to being the exclusive weapon of a god-level powerhouse, It also has to experience the precipitation of time. It must be at least 10,000 years ago to be worthy of being called an ancient artifact. The Hoshin Tower is barely regarded as yours. Poseidon's trident is no longer qualified. It can only be called an artifact. Tao Linghua will explain that. Long Chen became clearer. Then is there any difference between the ancient artifact and the artifact? And since the Hoshin Tower is also an ancient artifact, why do you say it can't shake the Pangu axe? Long Chen continued to ask questions humbly. Tao Linghua seems to have recovered a lot of memory because of their restoration of the Hoshin Tower. I remembered a lot of long-term things. If Long Chen wanted to understand this world, he had to rely on it. Tao Linghua was not impatient at all, and patiently explained to Long Chen. Answer the first question first. The biggest difference between ancient artifacts and artifacts is that ancient artifacts are stronger, not just because of the precipitation of time, but also because their masters are stronger. For example, the owner of the vast sky tower is the vast sky great, the second generation world god, and the owner of the Sigurd trident, Sigurd, I don't know how many generations of the world it is. It can't be compared with Emperor Vast Sky at all. Answer your second question. They are both ancient artifacts, but they will also be strong or weak due to the strength of their owners. Pangu is the first generation of creation, and Vast Sky is the second generation of world gods, although only there is a generation difference, but the gap is like heaven and earth. After all, one is the creator and the other is just the inheritor. Chapter 300. Fragment of Law of Destruction. Oh, I got it. Long Chen finally understood that there are differences between god-level powerhouses and divine tools. Long Chen couldn't help thinking whether he should get an exclusive weapon too. When he became a god-level powerhouse, that would be his exclusive artifact. But now obviously it's not the time to think about this. He still thinks about how to become a god. No, the top priority now should be how to take away the Pangu axe. After Tao Linghua's explanation, Long Chen's desire for Pangu axe became even greater. This is an ancient artifact stronger than Hoshin Tower, the exclusive artifact of Pangu Great God. If you get it, Long Chen's strength can definitely be stronger, and it may even get the opportunity to create the world. But how do you break through those destructive powers? Long Chen racked his brains to think, but had no idea at all. The Hoshin Tower was already his strongest method, and he couldn't suppress it, so what else could he do? Wait, my biggest trump card doesn't seem to be Hoshin Tower, but ... system. Long Chen's mind suddenly flashed, thinking of something. The system can pick up attributes. If you can pick up the fragments of the law of destruction through the system, wouldn't you be immune? Yes, Long Chen has already seen that these extremely destructive energies are the laws of destruction. However, Long Chen had been staring at these destructive energy for a long time, and could not fall out. It seems we have to help. Long Chen decided to release a seal of life and death directly. The marker of life and death was stamped on the Pangu axe, but it was unable to shake the destructive force surrounding it. But Long Chen was not disappointed because of this, as he expected. He continued to attack, extinguishing the of thunder, the law of water, space cutting, the law of death, the law of time. All the power of the law was thrown out by Long Chen as if he didn't need money, and he bombarded that layer of destruction energy one after another, but he couldn't shake a bit at all. Emperor Xinyao watched this scene from the sidelines, his eyes staring out of surprise. I don't know, I was shocked when I saw it. The great Emperor Xinyao thought he had already seen Long Chen's strength, but now he realized that he still underestimated this kid. Nima, this guy actually understands so many laws. Could it be that what he said before is true? Emperor Xinyao couldn't help but think of Long Chen's bold thoughts before. He wanted to gather all the power of laws and create a world by himself. The second creation after Pangu. But what is he doing now? The great Emperor Xinyao was very puzzled, and clearly couldn't break through the barrier formed by that layer of destruction. Why does Long Chen still do such useless work? And doing so makes too much noise. It will only make those chaos demon gods come back sooner. The great Emperor Xinyao wanted to ask, but seeing Long Chen attacked vigorously, he gave up this idea. He was really afraid that Long Chen would accidentally throw all the power of these laws on him. He couldn't bear it. Boom. 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 Just when Long Chen felt that his physical and mental strength was about to be exhausted, finally, a small dark grey light group fell out of the layer of destruction energy. There is a play. Long Chen suddenly became excited. Ding. It is detected that there are pickable attributes nearby. Do you want to pick it up? The system's voice sounded in Long Chen's mind, and Long Chen hurriedly called to pick it up in his heart. Ding. The pickup is successful, and the fragment of the law of destruction is obtained. Will it be fused?